Fellow shifters, light guardians, remember, peace worldwide begins from inside. Aloha and welcome back, multidimensional friends, light guardians, shifters, dreamers from within this holographic matrix. My name is Brendon, aka Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, Skull the Wolf, Wolf Shield, welcoming you to another very exciting, inspirational, educational, and entertaining broadcast here presented on behalf of Paradigm Shift Central, a portal for inspirational conscious leaders and creators. And tonight is our Synergy Circle for October 3rd, 2019, where again, we are bringing people together to be able to help practice, sharing updates related to the ways in which we have been helping assist with the shift in consciousness, to share stories behind the scenes, projects that we're working on, general wisdom and insight, and to be able to ask ourselves the question as a community, what is needed? What is needed by us as individuals, as leaders within the shift? So thank you again so much for everyone joining in. If you're tuning into this on YouTube and Facebook, go ahead and just drop an 1111 in the chat to make sure that you can hear us okay, and we will get right into this broadcast. And for those of you who may be here for the first time, go ahead and drop a 222 in the chat, and we'll give you guys some additional shout outs. So again, for those of you who may not be entirely familiar, what you're going to be able to get from this show is you're going to be able to tune into the ways in which myself and other leading members of the Paradigm Shift Central project have been helping assist with the shift. Personally, for this broadcast, I'm going to be talking about one of the newest videos that I just released, which was interviewing drunk university students about aliens, dreams, and dimensions. Yes, it's as exciting as it sounds. And I'm also going to be talking about the Global Climate Strike March, and as well as some general updates on what is coming next for the Paradigm Shift Central project. And as per usual, I am joined by some fellow amazing creators here within the shift. So fellow leading members who we have on tonight, we have Sam and we have Parker and Philo back once again to be able to join us in this conversation. So for everybody here, just go ahead, gently unmute your microphone and send some love and make some noise to the people tuning into this. So go ahead, make some noise.
Welcome.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone, again for being here. Before we even get into like the updates, since there's just there's 4 of us here. Again, I want to be able to just kind of go around with a quick introduction, and then we'll get into a little bit more updates. Philo and Parker, if you guys even want to go first, that's totally cool, since I know everyone here is kind of on schedule. And overall, for everybody listening to this, we'll probably keep this broadcast wrapped up probably within about 90 minutes. And for those of you tuning in on Instagram, go to my Instagram story, swipe up right now to tune in on YouTube. So again, just dropping into the intention of why we are here, you know. For myself, being able to create this sacred digital space is the intention. And the way how I like to think of this is like to think of this as being able to invite people back to the round table. So the round table is very much like a metaphor. It is something we've seen throughout folklore and Arthurian legend. And what is it? Within our hearts and our minds, it is this gathering of leaders. It is this gathering of people who uphold like shared visions, virtues, and values. And so for us within this day and age, for those of you who are perhaps new to the project, we refer to people within the project as shifters or light guardians. And we are people who feel the call within our heart in the same way you do. If you are tuned into this broadcast, then absolutely, you are part of the team. You are a shifter. You are a light guardian as much as you choose to be. And so as the shadow looms, the light shall rise in that sense. And this in itself is very much a dance, and we like to be able to bring as much inspiration into these broadcasts simply by being able to share our story. So a lot happens in a week. Last broadcast that we did here, we spoke all about the climate crisis and consciousness, which was some wonderful discussion, which I encourage and invite people to go back and check out. And again, for this one, without really trying to put a specific single topic on this, what we're going to be doing is going around the circle, sharing updates, sharing wisdom and insight, and reflecting as a team to the question of, again, what is needed. So for those of you who haven't met me before, you can check out more of my stuff at Skull Babylon. I'm a full-time conscious media creator, award-winning filmmaker, and I've done over 1 million broadcasts and made some full-length movies. And I'm super honored and grateful to be able to have everybody here. So when you get a chance, if you're listening to this broadcast, go ahead and check out more at paradigmshiftcentral.com. You can sync up with our team chat, our newsletter, our mobile app, and explore the media nexus to be able to check out past broadcasts and other content created by community leaders, created by leading members within the community. So a quick thing before we get right into this, a huge thank you and shout out to our Patreon supporters. If you're watching this broadcast, maybe you've been tuned into a few of these, or maybe this is your first time, absolutely please feel free to check out our Patreon, and you can support the ongoing evolution of the project and the work that goes into creating this content for the community for free by supporting on Patreon with a monthly micro contribution. And when you sign up there, you can also get other cool perks within the community, such as the option to join as a leading member, and also the option to be able to get some discounts for Light Guardian crystals as well. So I'm going to pass the talking stick around. We're going to pass it over to Philo and Parker, who had joined us. And again, for those of you who maybe missed this one, they were joining us last time during our open mic broadcast, which we were sharing like poetry and flowetry and jamming. And that was a wonderful opportunity. And Philo, me and him have we actually go back quite a few years. He's actually featured in the Journey to Lucidity 2 movie 2, the sequel for it. And he's, again, a fellow creator. He's got a book that he's written. And again, we'll pass it over to them. And Parker, a fellow conscious creator, a musician. He was featured in the in a publication on the Shift entry for his song Planet Vegan, which was like stuck in my head for like 3 days afterwards in like a good way. So we'll let them introduce a little bit more about who they are. And again, I'm super honored to be able to have them here. And for anybody listening, be sure to check out the show notes and the YouTube chat, and we'll post some links there so that you can stay connected with all the members that you get to meet during this broadcast. So guys, go ahead and unmute your microphone and use this as a chance to just tell people what you do, plug your stuff, promote what you're up to, and we'll just go around the circle once, and then we'll pass it back to you to share a little bit in terms of updates that you would like to bring to the table. So go right ahead when you're ready.
Cool. Well, happy Thursday, everyone watching now and in the future. Happy Thursday, Jenna, if you're still watching, our friend from Pittsburgh. It's nice to meet you, Sam, digitally. Yeah, we're actually sitting at a round table, believe it or not, right now. So check out that round table. We actually just had a great, brainstorm, heartstorm session, the two of us and our other friend Kate, who was on the previous broadcast, and we were just setting some goals and kind of mapping out the next 3 and 6 months of what we're working on bringing into the world. So yeah, my name's Philo Lila, also known as Kevin May, and as Brendon mentioned, I've written 2 books. One's called Unlocking Our Superpowers. The other one's called The New Earth is Here, and they're both pretty fun. I probably have a copy with me. I could grab one in a minute. But yeah, I also helped found an organization called Team Pachamama. We're a nonprofit that's based here in Pittsburgh, and we do a lot of small festivals and events around important social and environmental issues. And we've done at least 5 or 6 awesome events this year. And we just got back from Resonance, which is a huge music and arts festival up in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. It had at least 4,000 people, probably more like 8,000. And we'll share a little bit more from that in a minute. But yeah, it's good to connect with you all in this virtual roundtable. Pass it off to Parker here.
Yo. I guess we're just doing introductions now. So my name is Parker Webb, aka Fungi. And just basically at this point right now, I'm just focused on music. And that was the medicine that I had to offer at Resonance, the festival that we both got the pleasure of being able to attend. I had a set with my friend Gregory Bogard. Prior to us performing together, we traveled around Germany, Austria, different places in Europe, and busked in the streets, just basically earning a living as street musicians in a foreign place. And we got a lot of good response. And so we decided to take our set to Resonance, and it turned out really well. We got some footage of that. So maybe whenever we finish creating this video that we're working on now, we can link y'all to that. As Brendon mentioned, I created Planet Vegan earlier this year. That was just a way to basically bring light to the option of being able to eat vegan and have a diet that is high vibrational and also and harmonious with the planet. And so it's just a way of having fun with eating food. And so you can check that out. We have that linked as well. So yeah, just as Brendon said, conscious MC, and just here to offer my music. And yeah, since we can dive into resonance whenever that doorway's open. So yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again, everyone, for being back. And yeah, no, that's exciting. I'm excited to, again, just be able to get the updates, because that's kind of like the way how, things work here within this social media world, is that there's a lot that each and every single one of us has going on just from week to week. And, like, Buddha knows that we can't just like see everyone's feed all the time, and sometimes there's stuff happening that's not even getting posted online and everything like that. And that's like when like a lot of like the most magical stuff is happening, is the fact that like when the cameras are off. So again, part of the intention here, and we'll get into this as we share more of our kind of like behind the lens updates, is being able to remind ourselves, and for everybody here, that we document things with our heart first and foremost, and that is very, very important. And so knowing that, again, Philo and Parker, they went to this amazing transformational festival, it's like, yeah, like we might not be seeing footage of it and everything now, but this is the practice that we are doing here as a community, to practice sharing this documentation, to archive this, so that we can create this episode, create this podcast, and say like, this is where we were at this moment in time as we continue to move forward. And again, as we continue to move forward, thinking and asking the question, what is needed, but also, part of what I wanted to be able to talk here tonight, just be able to open up that discussion as we move forward, is what are the tactics that we can utilize to be able to help assist with the shift in consciousness, like talking things tactically and be like, here's what's working, here's like, things I'm learning, here's like things that you can do too. So we'll get more into that, and we'll pass the talking stick over to Sam. Sam had joined us recently during the climate crisis and consciousness discussion, and with just a brief introduction to be able to pass it over to him, Sam has been creating some like alternative lifestyle, eco type friendly, I don't know what, if you want to call it a village at this point, or just like a headquarters or what, but Haven for Humanity is what it is, and Sam will tell you a little bit more about it. He's been building it for years, and it's a beautiful model of what is possible in terms of us living in harmony with the land and alternative ways of living. So Sam, welcome back, brother. Go ahead, pass it over to you. Give us a quick introduction and anything you kind of want to set up as you get ready to share after we go around the first time.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having me again. Thanks for doing this, Brendon. Nice to meet everyone. Glad to see that there's a bigger team every time, and meet new people every time we do this. It's really fun. Yeah, I mean, I'm in New York State right now, and my family and I started a nonprofit 7 years ago. I guess we moved here 7 years ago and started building what our homestead that we were really dreaming about, and creating it to be off the grid, and to be able to provide most of our needs for ourselves and our families. And so we started building this center that now we call Camp Haven, and eventually realized that our goal was really to make healthy decision making really easy for people, and to sort of just make the lifestyle of living in harmony with the natural environment more fun. To build community around that, and to show people that a lot of the stigma around it is kind of just misleading. So we wanted to kind of do it in a fun and interesting way. So our Camp Haven is an eco village education center, is what we call it. We also call it a sustainability theme park. The idea is to have a lot of different sustainability, like small scale active working models of different types of sustainable living, and different types of renewable energy models, different type of composting systems, all things like that are all active on site. And basically to have interns coming and living with us and staying with us and learning how to use all these systems while they're there, and then hopefully taking some of this knowledge with them home and sharing it with people that they have in their lives, and trying to integrate this stuff into their life in whatever way they can. So that's Camp Haven, and we just started another education center called Fairhaven Pharmacy that I've been working on for past 6 months or so. past 8 months or so, which is a living with plant-based juice bar and smoothie bar with a marketplace that sells fruits and vegetables at cost. Our goal is to make the healthiest options more accessible for people while educating them about what healthy options really are. Again, trying to build community around this idea of healthy living and healthy decision making. We have events, potlucks, and so basically we really just started with our community locally, and we're trying to branch out from there. Now I'm working on doing a lot of social media aspects of our stuff and learning the more online marketing aspect of what we're going to be doing to spread our word via the internet and videos and podcasts and things like that. So that's, yeah, my little intro so far. Yeah, we can talk more a little bit.
Awesome, sweet. And again, for everybody here, if you guys are in the YouTube chat, please feel free to just drop your individual links in there as well, and we'll make sure that we include those into the show notes as we keep moving forward with the broadcast. So with that said, like I mentioned earlier, there's some updates that I want to share in relation to the experience that I had, like doing free hugs and interviews with students about like consciousness shifting ideas, but we'll get into that, and that's pretty exciting in itself. And again, the intention there is to just give you some more behind the lens, behind the scenes info about the mission that kind of unfolded there. But before we get there, we're going to pass the talking stick over to Parker and Philo, who again, they were in the recent attendance for the Resonance Festival, which is a transformational festival. And, we can even just use this as a chance to just kind of talk about, why are transformational festivals even important to begin with. And transformational festivals have played a very, very pivotal role within my journey, obviously inspiring me to be able to create full-length movies about it, which are the Journey to Lucidity movies. And for those of you who just want to be able to get an experience of a transformational festival, go ahead and YouTube search Journey to Lucidity, and you'll find both of them, but they are both on my channel at Skull Babylon and on the main Paradigm Shift Central website. And so again, these are festivals that are created most of the time. The people who are managing these, they've been going through their own process of awakening, and this is about being able to help create sacred space for people to be able to celebrate this journey of awakening through art and music and dance and connection. So this is about being able to bring it back to the roots and really bring it back to the fireplace and really be able to connect in some very meaningful ways. And with that said, we'll pass it back over to Parker and Philo, who are going to give us a little bit of the documented experience of what the Resonance Festival was like for them. So when you're ready, go right ahead.
Cool, thank you. Resonance Festival, I believe this was the 6th annual, and it was up in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, which is about an hour north of Pittsburgh, where we live. And I actually have not been to a festival in like an overnight camping festival since 3 Days of Light back in 2016, which Parker and I that, and I actually made a video there, which maybe I could post in the chat or something. But anyways, it was great to return to the festival environment. And when you camp overnight for multiple days at a festival, that's when you really like sink into this whole kind of culture and community that you find there, where people just generally tend to be more open and free spirited and just less judgmental and stressed out than in regular society. And the difference between a regular music festival and a transformational festival is that the transformational festival has the intention of having more of a holistic model of like, they were very sure to have like recycling and a lot of healthy food options, vegan, vegetarian options. Many of the places had compostable cups. I was actually a vendor there, and I was selling chia pudding, and I was using compostable cups. And the reason why I haven't been to the festivals in the last few years is what Brendon mentioned as I was writing this book, which is called Unlocking Our Superpowers. And this book is basically like how to integrate, it's 246 pages. It's kind of like how to integrate all of the wisdom from the festival environment into like day-to-day life. So as far as like living a permaculture lifestyle, like Sam was explaining on the farm, and reconnecting with nature. There's a whole chapter about healing and stuff. And so I was selling my books at the festival, and it was really cool to like take 3 years off from festival world and go back into it and have like something meaningful to share with people. So like a lot of people came up and I would let them like flip open to a random page. And it's really amazing how usually they always flip to a page that applies to something that's happening in their life. So it was really fun to do that. And I also filmed a whole variety of footage from the festival, which I just posted the video in the YouTube chat box. It's like a 3-minute video that just shows they had an amazing, diverse range of visionary artists there who are just phenomenal doing live painting and really like bringing the imaginary world into the physical through their painting. And I believe you can have like a psychedelic experience just by looking at these paintings and like meditating. So it's cool to like meet a lot of those artists. And you know, they had workshops. They had this thing called the Jelly Dome, which I also made a video in. It's like this big geodesic dome with swings where everyone can just like swing around. There's like 10 swings in it, and everyone's listening to music. And we were just thinking, like, what if every town in the world had like a nice jelly dome in their park where people could go and hang out and just enjoy life, not have to like pay money to see a show or something, just like a free public arena. So, anyways, Resonance was phenomenal, and I really do feel like it galactivated us, to use a term from our friend David Weber. And there was phenomenal music. I mean, you could check out the website. There was like hundreds of different musicians there. So yeah, it was phenomenal. You want to share?
And I feel like for me, like really when you talk about a transformational festival, what stands out in the difference between any other festival is the container that they hold. And you could feel the intention. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been to countless festivals. Actually, I used to make a habit out of sneaking into festivals a lot when I was younger, and I've been to, I can't even count how many festivals. And it's such a difference between like something like Bonnaroo and like something like Resonance. You know, like one of them feels like very corporate. Like there's still a lot of magic. There's still some amazing performances and some life changing experiences to be had. Um, but the energy is almost like stale. It's almost like the container, in a sense, is sort of like watching like a channel on TV, and it's very much like you're kind of in this box in a way. You know what I'm saying? But the container, a transformational festival like Resonance, it feels like the space is being held for you to be able to create. You know, it feels co-creative. And so I think the atmosphere welcomes us to all share our gifts in a collaborative way. And the way that I came into the festival was through my friend Samantha, who runs a booth called Consensual Consciousness. And to me and my fam, and to a lot of people that came to the festival, that was like an anchoring point, like a real like solid root into the ground, that was sending its light up above and kind of like calling in all the people who also felt a similar calling to share their gifts. And one of the most magical things that happened in this booth, which is just primarily focused on like selling different artists' goods and coming together in a way to have an outlet for different artists and vendors to express themselves, kind of like transformed and evolved even more one night into us doing a collective sound healing, which was super magical. We were putting out a lot of good vibrations, and people were walking by late at night when the music had ended, and we're kind of just randomly joining our circle with their own instruments, or at least just stopping by to kind of listen in. We had probably like 10 or 20 people going with the singing bowls and every instrument you could think of, you know, flutes, drums, everything. And we were just like really putting out the sound healing love. So, you know, for me, it's like, it's about the sound healing. It's about the music being a medicine. And a lot of the artists that showed up at Resonance, such as Sat Song, I feel like they share a similar intention, a similar vision of everything that's expressed for it to be healing, inspiring. And when you have artists like that coming through, where their visions are in alignment with the visions of the festival, then I think that's where the real magic happens. So yeah, I mean, seeing that song, getting to perform myself on stage was huge for me. Collaborating with Consensual Consciousness, hanging out with Philo Lila over here, watching him do his thing with giving out the books, which is a super potent medicine,
Also,
and the
activating people with these, the octopus body massagers. Most people think it only works on the head, but we give like a full body activation where you go down the shoulders and the back. And these things can literally release like 20 pounds of energetic stress in like a minute. And we probably gave out like 300 or 400 massages over the weekend with these, and people are loving them. And yeah, it's
Just
fun time.
explain.
yeah, so it's just beautiful to watch how a lot of people react, and it's like
that's right. Sorry, I was just gonna say, for the people who are just listening to audio, tell them what you're holding, because I don't think the context was there.
Yeah. So we'll make a little noise here. This are called octopus body massagers. They're small handheld massagers that look kind of like a whisk that you like would make a recipe with, but they're made of aluminum and they have like little gel tips. So it kind of looks like an octopus. It's got like 8 or 10 little prongs, and you can like massage your head and your body, and it feels very relaxing, but it's also like an energetic activation, kind of like clears out stagnant energy. So yeah, we sell these and we love them. We love to just give out free massages. So fun times.
yeah, it was really good just watching how all the people were activated by something simple as like a little octopus massager, and Philo dealing out the chia pudding goodness as well, which kept us all fueled and hydrated throughout the weekend. And yeah, just just to be able to be there with family and roll into a place I don't know who I'm gonna see, and then I show up and it's like it feels like a giant family reunion. The real medicine to come together with friends, family, and just share an experience. And also wanted to just echo the importance of being able to camp out and spend a few days, because from what I've seen, at least personally, like you come to a festival space, you're kind of still getting like your feet wet a little bit, still kind of like dipping your toes in for the first day, even maybe the second day. But by the third day, like it's just, especially after some of the shows that happen late night, like it's a full activation. And then taking that activation energy, now you're at your full potential. Now you want to express. Now it's like, well, what do I have to give back? And then whenever that share happens, it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, can always dive into that infinitely. And also right after that, this past weekend, I went to Interwoven, which was another pretty cool little event. And I could touch base more on that if you want, but yeah, I think that about wraps up the resonance experience for the most part. And yeah, I think the last thing I really want to point out, which stuck with me the whole weekend, was the importance of the name, because people were constantly repeating that name over and over through the weekend. And so if the name of the festival was Joe Eats Hot Dogs, everybody's like, yo, have a happy Joe Eats Hot Dogs. And everyone's thinking about, just going to eat hot dogs. Like that, those words don't really like resonate per se. But with a word like resonance, where the meaning inside of it is actually like the resonance that you feel from the vibrations of the words, and it meaning like we're resonating together, like we're vibing together, like we're in harmony. To keep repeating that over and over and be under that container with that name, that was huge. And I think the people who created it really knew that, and it's a powerful thing. So props to them and everyone who came out and performed, everyone who helped make it possible. And yeah, just looking forward to watching these kind of things continue, because that's rippling out into the whole entire world. Just that small beam of love is rippling out in the waters of this ocean of this creation that we're in. And I could feel it, and I know everyone else could feel it, even if it's bit by bit. We're making a shift. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's awesome. Thank you, Parker, and thank you, Philo. Yeah, I did want to just kind of take a moment here to just talk a little bit more about transformational festivals, and even just kind of like ask you two specifically, what do you feel you bring back with you from these festivals, be it resonance or more so in general? And also, you know, like what can, if you're just kind of trying to sell people on the idea of maybe they've never been to a transformational festival, now this is going to start get them thinking. Because I think with the transformational festivals, we have to be able to look at feeding our soul these experiences almost like an investment. Like you're investing in yourself. It's not like you're literally just going there just for a party or just for a getaway or a vacation or something like that. I mean, in the same way that we know it's like, you know, if you were to take a week and just go camping and disconnect in nature, like that in itself has been clinically proven to like reset certain aspects of our awareness and of our body and just be able to help give us more clarity. And so with these festivals for you and Sam, I'm not entirely sure if there's anything you want to jump in on this, or even just kind of from because again, I'm not sure how many festivals you've been to, but obviously you've been involved with events, and it's a community event in itself, which is powerful. So again, you know, like kind of from that, just focusing on that question, what do you feel you bring back with you after you go to these events? And to set that up, I did just want to actually read out a comment from in the live chat from Paper Druid, and this is actually really cool because Paper Druid, who's one of our regular people who kind of tune in every now and then, they were actually at Resonance as well. So like I literally told him like, yo, like these guys are talking about resonance, like you might want to be able to tune into this. And they said specifically about resonance, it was deeply healing and incredibly inspiring. I had such a magical time. And so Paper Druid, if there's anything else that you want to share related to your experience, absolutely please feel free. And for anybody else here in the chat, again, this is a team discussion. Let us know, how have transformational festivals served you? Or if you've never been to one, what are your thoughts on them? Would you be open to going to one? And what about the idea kind of like feels exciting to you? And I do think even just that very notion of, and I remember this feeling as well, when I went to 3 Days of Light, which was my first transformational festival, it very much is this like family reunion. And I think for a lot of people who may not have that tribe in the physical location where they are, to suddenly be around like hundreds of people who are in that shared vibration, who are in that same mindset, it can be such a beautiful thing. Like I know for some people, and I'll just say this and pass it over, some people, they will go to a festival like this and it will be the first time ever that they have ever experienced this degree of love, like that kind of love. There's like, oh my God, like this, like I'm like 25 years old, or maybe I'm 35 years old, you know, and I have never experienced this amount of love all in one place, all at one time. And that can be very transformational, you know, like on like a deep spiritual level for people. So for you two personally, what do you feel with this festival you brought back? You know, like how by the time you went in and by the time you left, what changed, what shifted, you know, within your self-awareness, and you know, focusing in on just like the inspiration that you brought back with you. So go ahead, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Yeah, dude, the first time I started going to festivals, it was like I had to like acclimate my whole system to all the like love that was coming in. I had to like take off my armor basically, because growing up in the city, like being like a bro in the like mainstream culture, I like built up this armor that was like, I can't express love in different ways and whatnot. So it's like these festivals help you to like slowly like kind of soften your armor and just like be open to other people in different ways. And yeah, so I do want to say I highly recommend, and Brendon, this is really cool news. This phenomenal film series called the Bloom series just reactivated, and they have been documenting transformational festivals all around the world with like a super pro film crew. And they had this whole series going like 5 years ago, and then like they ran into some issues and they stopped for like the last 5 years. And literally like 2 days ago, I got an email that like they're back running in business. And anyone watching this that's like slightly interested in transformational festivals, like please check this out. Just search the Bloom series on YouTube, and then you can find their actual website where they have like these full length kind of documentaries about it. But like it's so inspiring, it's insane. So yeah, like me personally, this
sorry,
really
Phil, I actually just
activated.
wanted to, sorry, I just wanted to jump in there on the Bloom series because I just to share in the excitement, like, yeah, like, for anybody here, literally just YouTube search the Bloom and we post the link in the chats. But like, I just want to give a quick shout out of gratitude because we personally know a lot of people that are like involved with some of the production team behind that. You know, like I think of I know like Akira Chan has been involved. You know, people like Mickey Willis. I know he's like partly involved, but there's like a whole team of people out on the East Coast that have dedicated a huge part of their life. And again, like it's not just a documentary on the festivals, but it's like it's a chronicling of our journey as consciousness, and it's a visceral experience, again similar to what I intended to do with the Journey to Lucidity movies. But like, oh man, like seriously, if you're looking to like cry in the best ways possible and you've never been to a transformational festival, absolutely like check out the Bloom. And I wanted to say it was a bloom.net, but I think it's that but we'll get, just type in the Bloom,
the bloom.tv.
the bloom.tv is the actual website, so we'll make sure we add that into the show notes, and consider that like your little like gift for yourself after this broadcast. If you haven't yet, watch that and watch it as a meditation, watch it as like medicine. So and I think the word medicine is a very powerful word that resonates with what these festivals are accomplishing and serving. So Philo, sorry to interrupt, but go ahead, passing back to you.
So yeah, I mean, to be honest, this was the first time I was vending at a festival, like officially, like selling products. And I feel like there is this new economy of like conscious art and goods and services that is growing, where we can start to actually create a livelihood through, there were hundreds of artists there that got paid to go there and do live painting. And so I think like some people tend to think festivals, oh, that's like something you do on the weekend and you can't really be your lifestyle or whatever. But like there are ways of like grounding it and, creating a sustainable income and life with these things. The market for healthy food is like skyrocketing, and the market for just like healing experiences is skyrocketing. So like for me, it was just like showing the importance of like these are profoundly healing tools, and like I love sharing it with people. And like I can literally see goosebumps get on people's arms in like 5 seconds with these things. And like for anyone at home that might have one, like I encourage you to play with it more and like find ways. Like these can literally heal trauma. They've helped me to heal my PTSD and like getting out of fight or flight response. So it's really powerful. And I was also selling my books, which like this book, I have it on Amazon if you search Unlocking Our Superpowers or Philo Lila. This is literally like after 10 years of going to all these festivals, this book is like how to bring it into your day-to-day life in a very like practical way. And I have the whole book online as well, which you can check out on teampachamama.net. It's just like chapter by chapter on there. And like, I put it out there for free. If people want to support me back, cool. But like this, it's not like I own this. It's meant to be shared with the whole world. So that was really cool. And just like, I got so much encouragement from people like, please keep doing what you're doing. So it's very like reaffirming to me that like, I am supposed to keep doing this, and like all of us have this important role to play. And this is way more important than all the bullshit that's happening. I mean, like it just reaffirms that like the new paradigm we're creating is very real and it is very important, and it's not just some like weird little trend or some like bullshit on the side. Like it's very powerful. So that's what I got from it. You want to go?
I definitely feel like one of the most important things that he said that stands out is the fact that we can make this a living. You know what I mean? This doesn't have to be like some weekend warrior thing. If you want to, you can step into the place where you're totally supporting yourself just by hopping festival to festival. So just knowing that is an option for anybody who wants to step into that, I think it's super empowering. Because a lot of us come into the festival, we feel so much love, and it's like, wow, I'm in the 5D, like I'm in heaven on earth, and then you're back to society, you're back to Babylon, you're back to your 9 to 5, and it kind of deflates, you know what I'm saying? So we don't have to ride this crazy wave. I'm used to riding that wave. We don't have to do that. We can stay we could stay up here. So to know that that's possible is a beautiful thing. Yeah, just something I wanted to touch on, which is one of the most important things for me. The transformational festival. You're talking about what I brought back with me. Um, Knowing that what we're stepping into is a ceremony. You know, this is not just a concert, a recreational activity, a place to do a bunch of drugs and have fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, you treat it like a ceremony, then you're gonna get something out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's everything in life. You treat it with meaning, with purpose. The amount that you give is the amount that you're gonna get back. Okay. So for me, one of the biggest moments was whenever Satsang kind of shut his set down, and was just like listen, like, what's your intention, like, what do you want to get out of this? And he proceeded to do like a very small little ceremony of clearing that energy, and all together collectively we like took a breath and like imagine this ball of like everything that we don't want and all the energies that like we're not we don't want to hold on to anymore, and like we all like imagined it and like balled it up, and then like collectively all as one, like together, like raised it above our heads, and then like with a big giant scream, we all like shot it up into the air and released it, and like did this huge transmutation thing, and just purified a lot of energies that were not aligned, so that we can move forward in a good way without all the weight, so that we can open ourselves to the spirit that wants to come fill us. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I set the intention coming into the festival of, may all that does not serve me in my highest good dissolve and be purified. May I move forward in a way in which my vessel is open and empty for spirit to flow through. Anything that's getting out of the way or getting in the way of that, then please let me see it, let me know it, let me understand it, and let me let it go with love. And so sets like Satsang and the collective sound healing and everything we did, especially the performance I gave, being able to express from my heart and being able to give my medicine, that really allowed for that healing to happen. And so it really is a healing event, and it really is a healing experience whenever we set those intentions and treat it like a ceremony. And I could go on and on and on and on, but I'm sure we have more questions and things to do. So
yeah, no, that's beautiful, man. I really appreciate you specifically saying that it is a ceremony, because I think when we understand that, it really just helps create the context so that we can show up to meet it as that. And absolutely, with the transformational festivals that I've been to, and the recent one that I went to, and that took place over the solstice, it was beautiful. And it wasn't even like a huge transformational festival. It was actually just like a small gathering on some land, on some private land. But again, it was very much like an intention, a ceremony. And there was like, just kind of like people like showing up, getting hands-on, cooking, volunteering, a lot of that. And oftentimes the festivals are that, they're very community created. So that's the thing, when people show up to these festivals, I think they can show up expecting not just to be a consumer, but to be a participant, to be a co-creator. And that kind of changes the way you appreciate it. You're not just that. And that's kind of what separates it from other festivals. Sometimes you're just going there and you're like, you're taking, but the festivals that I really enjoy are the ones where it's like you give, and then it becomes yours. It becomes a part of what you've created. It becomes something that you get even more out of. And and I know, and Parker, I'm sure you can kind of resonate with this as well, but in the last event that I went to, because I didn't even go to like a big festival this weekend, it was just kind of this summer, it was just kind of this one, but it still served me in such a powerful way. And one of the most moving parts in it was this part where we were kind of gathered at night, and it was basically like a very intentional mushroom ceremony, and there was probably about maybe between 50, maybe 100 people on the land, give or take, but there was a huge circle of us, about like 25, 30 people, more than that probably, and pretty much everyone there was just kind of like microdosing, and that was kind of the intention. And then everyone just kind of like started sitting there, and we just kind of sat there for like a well over like a half hour, an hour, and there's a woman who was conducting it. She was kind of facilitating it. And it was nighttime and the stars were out, and it was just so beautiful, so profound. And I think these festivals, they create this opportunity for, us to be in those places where the veil is thin, and we can like taste our soul. We can meet our soul. We can meet, the one of the ideas that came up to me, and it was so profound. It was so beautiful. And I actually like delivered it as we were sitting in a circle. And then like as we were sitting there, and I was starting to come up on I was doing a microdose of LSD actually. So there's some people doing LSD, some people doing mushrooms, and as I was kind of coming up on it, I had like the intention. I'm like, okay, like I want to try doing some sort of like freestyle, like flow tree. Like I feel there's something that's coming through me. Like it's not even just for me. And then I ended up like once, and the timing on it was perfect. You know, I never kind of like spoke over anyone. I just waited and I waited. And then suddenly there was this period where like no one was talking and the person facilitating had already kind of like finished saying all she needed to say. And then I was just kind of like sitting there, and I got on my knees, and I was just sitting there with like a strong back. And I just started like kind of channeling this message, channeling this flow tree, but it was delivered with such a cadence and such a rhythm and such a tonation. And I dropped into this, I dropped into this very powerful space within my voice. And I'll kind of emulate it to a degree, but it wouldn't be quite the same. But it's something that was very important because it kind of like showed me a part of myself where even I was like almost observing it, but it was so powerful. And one of the things I said, you know, like I probably just went into some free flow tree where, yeah, again, it's hard for me to emulate, but one of the things I said particularly was this idea of like, feel and remember how ancient you truly are. And like, and just that idea mixed in with kind of the cadence of the rhyming and stuff I had, like, that was like such a powerful idea. Cause I'm like, whoa, like, can you feel that? Can you feel that right now? And for anybody here, like, I even invite you to just kind of practice thinking about this right now, like right now, without you being at some sort of festival. But if you were just connect with your breath, can you feel how ancient you truly are? And just the profoundness of that thought, like, just kind of like blew my mind. But what was powerful, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because, again, it wasn't just for me. And when I said these words, it showed me what I'm capable of doing in that moment or any other moment. It was very powerful for me to see that part of myself. And I actually, it actually like made someone on the other circle, like it like put them in tears, like almost like instantaneously, like something that I said like hit them in such a way, which was again kind of my intention. Like I was really like speaking like this like very powerful heartfelt message. And yeah, and literally like across the other circle, you just kind of heard this girl just kind of like let out in tears. And then I kept kind of like delivering this message like with her crying, but it was like a very kind of like, it was a deep cry. Like it wasn't like a sad cry. Like it was just like such a human thing. And so going back to the idea that these were ceremonies, you know, I think it is worthwhile to acknowledge that, you know, people go to these festivals, they go to these experiences. And when we talk about getting high, I think we need to understand that, you know, when done in a way with intention, getting high can just sort of be thought of as another way of saying getting in touch with our soul. You know, like we use the term getting high to kind of refer to as like, you know, we have this feeling of lightness. We have this feeling of just like expansion. And we refer to that as a term, quote unquote, high. And I think the symbolism of getting higher to the heavens, higher dimensional, you know, that's literally what's happening. So like when you get high on mushrooms and high on LSD and high on cannabis or anything else you're working with, you're literally getting into that state of feeling this reality and perceiving it from a higher vibration, from a higher dimension. And that is such a powerful thing and such a visceral thing. But at the same time, understanding that that sensation is available to people in a variety of ways. You know, it's available to people in very sober conversations that might happen down by the water where someone like allows himself to just say something that needs to be said and someone's there holding space. But again, these containers are what that is what the festivals are. They are containers. They are containers for us to be able to meet parts of our soul and to just come back from them with this experience, with this wisdom. And sometimes we don't even, you know, it's great to come back like with intention and just be like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. But sometimes, you know, people come back from it and it might take like weeks to just kind of like integrate the experience into like, you know, into their body and to just be like, because it might be so new, it might be so fresh for them. And yeah, again, you know, for anybody here, I highly encourage you to, you know, if there's transformational festivals that you feel called to go to, absolutely. And again, the Resonance one was in Pennsylvania. Was it in Pennsylvania? Yeah. And again, you know, there's festivals like these are popping up all over the place. And I think, again, just reminding us of the importance that we as community, we need each other. We need each other. Like it is non-negotiable. We need each other and we need to be able to create these spaces so that it kind of ignites our soul. It allows us to meet ourselves. It allows us to see more of who we are. And then we become conduits for that vibration, for that message back into culture, back into our mainstream ways of life, to be leaders in that sense. And that is one big thing that I talk about for us as leaders. And I'll just say this and I'll pass it around. And Sam, if there's any thoughts you want to jump in on too, again, like, as leaders of the shift in consciousness, like, what is our objective? I say this time and time again, but it's to be able to help lead people back to the wisdom of their heart. At least that's just one simple way that I say it. And again, we do this through our art, through our community facilitation, through our music, through our books, through our movies and everything like that. But when we are at these festivals, it allows us to practice being in direct communion with those parts of our souls that are like whispering to us the wisdom of what we need, that are like, this is what people need to remember. This is what you're capable of. This is who you're here to become. And it's such a powerful experience. It's a very multidimensional experience. It's a very transformational experience. So so again, I just wanted to be able to share a little bit of that. And that's just one transformational festival. But again, for myself, it's very important to be able to go to these, because it really is kind of like it's almost like a defrag for your computer. We kind of take on a lot of society, and sometimes you need to go decompress, reset things, recalibrate, and kind of sharpen your blade, clean your window, so to speak. Parker or Sam, if either of you want to jump in on this, and we'll kind of segue for eventually, because I know if you guys need to jump off, just give me a heads up ahead of time before you do. Sam, did you want to jump in on any of this? Any thoughts on transformational festivals? Go ahead.
I mean, I have yet to participate at a transformational festival, but I actually I've never been to any overnight festivals, but what I usually have experienced is a lot of the corporate aspects of it, and a lot of the salesmen all around everywhere trying to sell you stuff. But I've talked through my the work with Haven for Humanity and Camp Haven, and trying to do outreach and just talking to my friends that do go to these festivals. It's always a real going home is always the real hard part, and that was a big part of what we're trying to provide with Haven for Humanity is some way of continuing that energy throughout your personal life, and taking some of the because it cultivates a certain energy in people, and they want to then do something with that energy, and they are forced back into their routines, and it's kind of it can be demoralizing, or it can be just diminishing in that way. So trying to give people and a place where you can go to kind of learn more about this subject, and dive deeper into personal development, into environmental stewardship, into nonviolence and peace and beloved community development. It was a big part of my thinking, was and who we're trying to do this for is kind of the same people that that go to these festivals, and that are looking for a place that doesn't really recognize that, where society doesn't really recognize them in its circles. I guess I'm looking forward to going to some. I just been busy working on this stuff, and there's a lot that happened locally, within an hour of me. So I'm trying to use Haven for Humanity as a informational vendor, so that we can go to these places and actually provide value to people, and not just necessarily be participating at the same time. So that's looking forward to that.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely, Sam. And that's the thing, it's the events in general, it's the community events in general that are always going to be able to, serve in whatever way is needed, based on where they might be taking place. And excuse me, choked on peanut there. But anyways, what I was going to say is that I'll pass it over to Philo in a second. But again, one of the things that I've taken from these festivals is that they really inspired me to be able to bring events to my community, such as the Paradigm Shift meetups, where we do open-minded discussion meditation circles, but in particular, also like things like ecstatic dance, ecstatic dance gatherings, sound healing ceremonies. These are things that I'm still feeling very much called to do, because again, it's kind of like creating like the vibration of these festival experiences, the intention of these festival experience, but you do them in just like a like a 2-hour kind of event in a single night. And sometimes like that's the thing, like for a lot of people, they can't necessarily just like go to a festival. They might not have that luxury, so to speak. But for us as leaders, how do we bring the festival back into our cities, back into our communities? And I know, again, Parker and Philo, you guys definitely have experience with this, with creating a variety of events. So yeah, again, kind of with the intention where how do we as leaders kind of answer the call, what is needed in terms of what we take from the festival and how we integrate it back into our society. If you guys have any thoughts on that or just anything else that you want to say, by all means, go right ahead.
Yeah. Well, first, Sam, I just want to say, do you know of the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors, Alex and Allison Gray's art ranch area? Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it. You're not the first person to tell me about it.
I'm pretty sure it's in upstate New York. I would highly recommend checking out how close you are to it, because they have a wide variety of events every single week, and they're having a huge Halloween party that I'm actually considering going to. It's like 7-hour drive from Pittsburgh. I imagine it's probably less than 2-hour drive. Tickets are only $40 a piece, and this place is such like a mecca of transformational culture. I highly recommend checking it out. But yeah, I think ecstatic dance is a great way to like integrate the festival experience into a local environment. We have ecstatic dance pretty much every week here in Pittsburgh with different facilitators, which big gratitude to everyone who holds space for that. And sound healing experiences are great. And one thing I think is cool is just like outdoor, I call them semi-spontaneous gatherings, where it's just like a bunch of friends gather in like a local park. Everyone brings a little bit of food to share, and you can set up like a slack line. If you've ever seen the slack lines, those are a great way to just have like a cool interactive activity. You can also do like acro yoga, juggling, or different flow arts like poi, things like that, just to like get in that non-linear space. Because I feel like that's what like mainstream society, everything's like linear, on the clock, do everything like in kind of a linear focus. And festival vibes and like these other experiences get you into like a flow state where you're integrating more like kind of circular spiral flowing energy. So doing different activities in your own life, just like poi or dancing, things that get you out of like that linear rational mind, is very, very healing, and a great simple way to like integrate that experience. And what else did I want to say? Just like sharing inspiring information, keeping up with different Facebook pages. Like on our Team Pachamama page, we try to post lots of inspiring videos and stories and music. Music is a huge one, a way to like constantly be intaking music that inspires you and uplifts you and speaks to your soul, rather than like the mainstream crap that's on the radio. That's one way to integrate the festival experience. In the back of my book, which I could also post the link to the part online, I have like a list of all my favorite conscious musicians like Trevor Hall, Satsang, Medicine for the People, like all these different cool musicians that are kind of telling the story of this new paradigm. So yeah, I'll post that in the little chat box on YouTube. But yeah, I do have to get going here pretty soon. So I just want to thank you all for tuning in. now and in the future. Yeah, you want to say anything else?
Word up. Yeah. I think the question of how to bring this medicine to the people is one of the most important, especially people who may not have the privilege to be able to attend. And we even had this discussion at the interwove event that I was at recently. And, you know, long story short, I think it kind of comes down to in the end of just like being the light, you know, you integrate with this no matter how long it takes. But, you know, we're all on this journey of remembering who we are. And as we continue to interact with different pieces of ourselves, different reflections, and integrate with the medicines of those pieces of the puzzle, then we kind of like are able to build a more understanding like what we resonate with and what we don't. And so as we integrate this medicine and recapitulate and start to remember more of who we are through these containers of these transformational festivals and these things that we are doing in our community, then we're able to be of more of a light presence, and light as in like all colors of the rainbow, you know, fully integrated, fully showing up, having to adjust our shadows. And what I was touching on with the sat song thing and setting the intention for the ceremony, some of that is shadow work. You know what I mean? It's like what may be lying underneath the surface that I'm not aware of. Like, please allow it to be shown, seen, and then transmuted, you know, for the highest good. And so as we continue to do that work, continue to be more of the light that we want to bring, then it's really just like it happens automatically. We don't even really have to do too much. We just have to continue to keep doing our inner work, and it kind of just seemingly reflects outward. It's like a chain reaction, you know. And so I go there, I set the ceremony, set the intention, do the work, come back, ground it out, integrate, and then things just come into play. Like somebody might message me like, hey, what do you think about doing this idea? What do you think about having this community gathering? How do you feel about hosting a freestyle cipher thing? I don't even have to really think too much. Just kind of like allow the messages to come, allow the inspiration to come through, kind of feel what resonates in terms of the opportunities that open up, and then hop on whatever is in alignment. So someone reaches out like, hey man, you spit some cool raps or residents. How do you feel about hosting a little open mic so everybody, you know, has an opportunity to do the same? Like, cool, that sounds great. Where do we do it? You got a spot? All right, man. So yeah, taking the medicine from the festivals, bringing them back in the communities, and then giving the people an opportunity who didn't get a chance to participate to be a part of the medicine as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Parker. And yeah, just checking in real quick. I don't want to keep you guys any longer than you're planning on staying. You guys both heading out soon, or is it just Philo, or is it both of you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna leave it. I mean, if you wanted to get on Zoom on your computer, you could do that.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna check out here in a little bit too.
Totally cool.
We're on the same device, and I got some other things to attend to. I feel like this was super divine, the time that we had. And if there's any and the last questions or things to wrap it up, let's know.
Yeah, so we'll just do that real quick. If anybody has any quick questions for Parker and Philo in the chat, and I'll just kind of riff it here for a couple seconds, because again, you know, like I think one of the things that we usually talk about within the Paradigm Shift Central project is that we're encouraging people to become leaders, and specifically leaders who are creating events in their community. So again, this whole Paradigm Shift Central project, this began partly as I was in college. I created a club in my college, and it was basically just about being able to help bring people together to have open-minded discussion and meditation. And so basically, again, I just wanted to be able to check in with you guys to be able to see like what, you know, for the people out there who are listening, who are maybe even just, as we're saying this, we're starting to plant the seed to be able to kind of give them the permission to help create events where they are, and what insight you might have for them if for people are starting to think about creating events. But what I was just going to say is that, you know, start simple. These events can be very, very simple with where you are. You don't have to have a lot of experience. You don't have to have, you know, a lot of expertise as you begin these events. Like again, for the model of a paradigm shift community, the basic model is again being able to encourage people to host open-minded discussion and meditation circles where people can come together. And essentially the concept is to practice talking about things related to metaphysics and spirituality. But then out of that, it can grow. And again, it's about being able to help create those portals for synchronicity opportunity for people to come together, and there will be lives that will be changed. There will be relationships that will be created. People will meet each other there. And as you're doing this, you're building your tribe. So for anybody who's tuned into these, and maybe you're just thinking like, hey, you know, I'd love to be able to meet other like-minded people where I am, but I don't know any of them. Creating an event and then going out there and promoting it, even combining tactics like doing free hugs and connecting with people, inviting them to the event that way. Again, these are just tactics that I've commonly talked about over the years. It is possible for anybody here listening to be a facilitator and a creator for conscious events where you are, be it open-minded discussion meditation, be it some sort of special meditation event, like a sound healing event, be it some sort of like, again, maybe even just like a musical performance that you might be doing. Again, it can be an ecstatic dance event. It can be a nature, like it can be a garbage cleanup while traveling through nature. Some of the things we talk about there. So yeah, if there's any other questions, please feel free to just leave those real quick for Parker and Philo just before they have to head out. And my question is, yeah, just any additional words of wisdom for okay, there's a quick question here from 1111 Balance. What advice would you give someone before they go to their first conscious festival? So let's just focus in on that question real quick. And my question was just going to be any additional wisdom for people out there who might be thinking about, you know, creating conscious events where they are. But that first question, what advice would you give someone before they go to their first conscious festival? If you guys want to hit that up, and we'll keep this time frame within, you know, no more than 5 minutes, I would say, and then we'll be done, and we'll keep going, and go right ahead. You guys can jump in on this. So
yeah, so if you're going to a first festival, you know, I would recommend watching videos on YouTube just to get a different multiple perspectives on people's first person experience. But just I recommend camping out, making sure that your camp gear is waterproof, which neither me or Parker did. And we got totally soaked and drenched at Resonance, but it was fun. We survived it, and you know, everything worked out. But having a good waterproof tent setup is pretty crucial if there's even a slight chance of rain. Making sure you're going to be warm enough at night. You know, I recommend bringing your own food so you don't have to like spend all your money on the often expensive food vendors there. I recommend, you know, being brave, even if you don't know anyone, going to a festival by yourself, just like finding nice people and be friendly with them, and, you know, try and connect with people. There's, you know, I recommend a festival where they have workshops, because you can meet a lot of cool people through the workshops. I do recommend like taking a camera or video so you can, you know, share the experience with other people. I do like psychedelics are often common at transformational festivals, and you know, I'm not anti-psychedelics at all, but I think it's very important to be very cautious with psychedelic use, especially at festivals. There's a group called Dance Safe where you can actually like test if you're gonna do MDMA or something like that, or LSD even. There's a way to like test it to make sure that it's not laced with something weird or something like that. So just being very like mindful if you are gonna do psychedelics. I personally recommend doing like a microdose type of thing at a festival, because it's already like a psychedelic experience. I mean, I'm a huge fan of just being accessing non-ordinary states of consciousness without psychedelics, which you can very much experience at festivals, because you know you can almost vicariously start feeling, you know, different energies because everyone else is tripping. But you know, you can access. I think that's a huge message I want to share, is that, and that's what I share a lot in my book. Like, I don't even mention psychedelics really at all in this book. It's like all different ways you can access through, you know, yoga, breath work, healing, meditation, exercise, all these different things, cleansing, fasting, etc. So, you know, I think that, you know, just being very mindful, doing your research, and not just like diving head first and like doing something that you'll regret at a festival. Because, you know, Parker and I both have had the experience of taking too much psychedelics at festivals, and it doesn't turn out very, very happy. So that's my message for the festival. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, just to really piggyback on that last bit, I've definitely like just to be real blatant, fucked myself up pretty hardcore. Taking too much and going too deep in the wrong container at a festival, spinning out and getting delusional. That's no fun. So yeah, definitely if you want to partake, like you said, like a microdose is a really good idea. At Resonance specifically, being that my name is Fungi, I tend to partake in the fungi medicine, and the opportunity was there all 3 nights to go as deep as I wanted, but I just chose to stick with the microdose because, like Philo said, the energy is already so high, and it can be really easy to cross the line. So I think if you're gonna partake in any substances, to start really low and maybe work your way up if you want to, but tapping into like the energy, the collective energy and the music, like can give you enough high, as any other drug. You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, it's like one of the messages for me, for anybody is their first time coming to a festival, and this might be a projection of just the way I am, but I think it's really valid and important to just remain open. I think it's very easy to like dive too deep in the schedule, try to plan so much, like know exactly who you're going to see and what workshops you're going to, and be looking at the clock. Drop your fucking cell phone. Don't take your cell phone. Don't take your fucking cell phone. Don't wear a watch. You know what I'm saying? Like these might seem like really like, harsh, whatever, like, and a lot of people would disagree with me, suggestions. But what happens is if you let go of all those things, you're going to tune into the spirit of the festival, opening up your spirit to know exactly in which way to go. And you're going to be guided to exactly what's in the highest alignment for you, rather than what your mind thinks that you need. You open yourself up and allow in every moment for other people to send you a message, or for a bird to come and send you a message, or for maybe a feeling in your butt tells you to go to the butt massage workshop. You know what I'm saying? Like, be open, don't schedule too much, go with the flow. You've got to be open in order to go with the flow. And I could go on and on and on about first time advice, but come prepared, have your gear straight, hopefully have at least a friend that you're going to hook up with, so the buddy system and everything, because there's a lot of people you can get lost and whatever. And yeah, just be open to the magic. And like I said, it's a ceremony, so set an intention and watch the blessings manifest.
Awesome feedback and tips there. Phil, did you want to add into that, or were you just?
Well, I was gonna hop to the next thing, which is just how to be a leader in your own community. I think the key is I actually, once again, I know I keep referring to my book, but this is like the external hard drive of my brain and my life pretty much. So there's a whole chapter in here about how to build conscious community, which I'll try. It's on the teampachamama.net website if you just search cultivating community. But anyways, the first key is like team up with other groups and people that are doing somewhat similar stuff. Literally, it's inevitable that there's a few people in your town that are like doing something similar. And like once you start to connect those dots, then you start to like weave this network of people that are kind of have overlapping missions in some way. And just building friendships with people that are kind of on a similar wavelength, and then starting to host small events of any type, anything to like just bring people together. Doesn't matter if it's just a potluck. I think a potluck is a great place to start. Just be like, yo, we're having a potluck. Everybody bring some food. We'll hang out. It doesn't have to be like some huge extravaganza. So I think just starting small and like keeping the consistency up, like, hey, we're going to have this monthly potluck, and it starts to gain a little bit of buzz and people talk about it. Certain things like that are really simple. And then you can work your way up to doing bigger events like we do here in Pittsburgh. We do some small festivals and stuff. And I just encourage people, like, you don't need to have any freaking credentials at all to like start building community. Like I rode my bike across America with a team of people. We visited eco villages and stuff. And we just saw people like putting solutions into action. It's like there's no fucking thing holding them back. They're like building yurts, hobbit domes and shit. It's like in society we have all this like hesitation, like, am I qualified to like start a community or do whatever? It's like, no, it's all bullshit. Like, you'll learn it as you go, you know, fake it till you make it. And like, we all are freaking superheroes, super sheroes, you know, as Brendon said, like, we're all ancient beings here. We've lived multiple lifetimes, who knows where, but at least the energy in our body has lived for millions of years. So like we can do this shit. Like it's really not that hard. So if there's anything I want to impart, it's just like you can do it. You're fucking awesome. Like stop doubting yourself, you know, and like the world fucking needs us to step up. Like we've all got to like hold our little baton and be like, yo, I'm gonna like hold down my little area and I'm at least gonna like show up in some kind of way. You know, if you just keep showing up and giving like your piece of the puzzle, the universe will fucking support you. Like Terrence McKenna says that nature loves courage. You know, like you gotta like show that you're gonna like take risks and be courageous. You know, and like the magic will happen. You know, just trust that like you really do create ripples with everything you do. So if you do it intentionally, then it's gonna come back in a good way. So happy Thursday.
That's awesome. Thank you, Philo. And the timing on this is quite divine. Just as you guys are stepping out, we actually have our new friend, not our new friend, but our friend Joseph joining in, who is actually the one that you guys were just chatting to in the chat. JWMB3, who's talking about making events as engaging as possible. So I actually, even though I know Philo's in the background, I want to just like quickly introduce you. So Parker, Joseph, Sam, Joseph, and Philo, go ahead. And yeah, and Joseph, if you want to just like, I mean, if you've had a chance to tune in, you know, like when it comes to creating events where people are, just go ahead and add in your 2 cents, and then Parker and Philo will officially just kind of like wave you guys off for the night. But again, I just wanted to quickly introduce you guys here because Joseph, he's a local buddy of mine and definitely a fellow captain amongst captains, and he's again someone that I learn a lot from, and he's got a lot of magic up his sleeve, just one sleeve. Only one sleeve, and that's a joke that he'll tell you about because he's only got one arm because the other one got bitten off by a wolf. He'll tell you more about that. I mean, that's the mythology of it. Joseph, go ahead, just quickly introduce yourself. Say hi to Philo and Parker before they head out, and any thoughts related to like creating community event that you want to add in real quick. You have to unmute yourself before you get into it. So it's his first time on Zoom. That's all right.
Yo,
we're holding
sup?
space for him. Yo, dude, welcome.
Worked,
Go
okay.
right ahead.
That was my first question. How do I unmute myself?
Right.
How do you spell Philo?
Philo.
Okay, cool. I'm Joseph William McKay Barker III. I have done a lot of things in my life that are all a lot to talk about, so I'll keep it condensed. Over the last 2 years, I put on about a dozen sold out meditation concerts that have incorporated like various capacities of like multimedia. So yeah, and my 2 cents on it in like a very quick way is just, if you can ask yourself, like, how can I make it engaging? Like, how can you make something so dope that people will make it there because it's so cool? The other question that, or like the other thing that I have noticed is really important is if you ask something from people. So like one thing is if people pay for tickets in advance, they will sure as fuck go to the concert or go to whatever. But if they're like, you know, maybe just like pay what you can, like on the day, man, or something, like no one's gonna show up. And that's a lesson that I learned over the last like several years teaching like yoga in various capacities and being a part of the music and art scene for the last decade or so is, if you ask people like, yo, it's gonna cost like $30, but it's gonna be as dope as I can possibly make it, people are much more apt to do it. And I think as well, like if you're asking so much from people, I think that the response is usually really good. There was a concert that I saw online where every single person in this concert, it was like a VIP like black metal show here in Canada. Every single person there had like death metal face paint. So it was a part of the concert experience was like, you will not be let in if you don't have like fucking face paint on. And I think that that's something that sometimes people get kind of like worried about, is like not wanting to ask too much from people. But from my experience, if you ask the right things from people, then they'll respond well, and then you're like co-creating a beautiful experience. Like I'm putting a concert on in November, and it's a costume party, but it's pirate preferred. And so every single person is like, pirate party.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, that's like what I gotta say in like a quick summary.
Yeah, just a quick snippet there. So Joe, thank you again for jumping in, and Philo and Parker, I don't want to keep you guys any longer, and you've already been very patient with your time, so thank you again for joining us. And any closing message just before we say and wave you guys off on your way, and until next time.
Yeah, I just want to say hello, Joseph. Thank you for tuning in and sharing that wisdom. And I do agree that I think the in advance has a certain magic to it, but I will also say that we have had a lot of success with free events and by donation. So I wouldn't completely cross that off the charts, but I agree it does help sometimes when people can commit in advance. There's a certain magic to that. So I just think keeping it open to different things, like if it's a potluck or something, you're not gonna make people buy tickets, But
yeah.
Anyways, I love that sounds awesome what you're doing, and we're gonna get going. So before I leave, I just want to share that a great social experiment to transform reality is called the joke revolution, where you just share a joke every time you meet someone, rather than just like small talk. You just share a random like pun or something, and I do that a lot. It's pretty fun. So, do any of you know what Mozart's body is doing right now? It's actually decomposing. But just like stupid little jokes like that. Like I tell them every time I check out at the grocery store or something. I'm just like, hey, I collect jokes. Like, do you have any jokes? Sometimes they give me a joke, and I'll just give them a joke either way. But it's a really fun game, and I've collected quite a lot of jokes. So, does anyone have any quick one-liners before we go?
Joseph, do you have any?
Yeah, how do you get a one-armed guy to fall out of a tree?
You wave to him? Is that an old one?
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
I mean, I could also give another one. What's the difference between jam and jelly?
I don't
know.
You can't jelly your dick into someone's butt.
Dude.
I'm sorry.
There are children tuning into this, possibly.
I like to do PG-13 jokes.
Yeah, I know, right? And the only ones that I could think of are just like, I guess apparently they're all like amputee related ones that I remember my parents telling me, where it's just like it was just like, what do you call like a or not quadriplegic, but like a 4-limb amputee swimming, and it was just Bob. I'm just like, I'm just like, I mean, again, Joseph, I'm literally just saying this because Joseph already set up the amputee joke, and Joseph, like, he is just a one-man army of puns. He really rocks like the whole one arm thing going on. Like that. But any other?
What's the difference? What's the difference between a joke, and a dad joke?
Is this PG-13?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, okay. I don't know, man.
It's apparent.
It's apparent. Ah.
Yeah.
Whamp, whamp, whamp. That's cute.
Do you guys
Cool.
know? Do you guys know why the teacher didn't want to pass gas in public?
I feel like we could figure this one out. It's some sort of pun.
Turned out she was a private tutor.
She was a private tutor. I'll never think of that word the same again now. Hi, I'm your tutor. You're a tutor. All right. Cool. All right.
Well,
Anything else? I think that's it.
I will
Perfect.
say, Brendon, before when you said, "Hey, it's perfect timing," it was 11:11 at that exact minute.
Was it?
I put my phone in front of the
That's
screen
cool.
to show that.
Bonus points,
Yeah.
right? That's awesome. Sweet. Well, as we get ready to segue, I actually wanted to be able to talk about like the video that I made with interviewing drunk students. Did you guys just watch the first couple minutes of that, right?
Yeah.
Can I just ask?
We watched 15, 20 minutes of it. It was fucking
Okay, yeah.
hilarious.
You got the gist of it. Yeah, can I just ask, because just as almost like a survey, what were your like feelings while watching that video?
I mean, I was super intrigued. There was one point where like one of the dudes answering the question got like super hype up. Like I think it was something about being in another dimension when dreaming. And I literally like shot out of my seat and screamed and like ran around the room. I just like merged with his excitement. So I think just like the way that you like engage people and like you pull like their excitement out of them was like real medicinal. So
Yeah. I think it was phenomenal. My feedback would be to keep that video up and to trim down like 10 of the like highlight moments of it and create like a 2-minute video that would be more like virality able. That's my feedback, because like Jay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so like on Jay Leno, they used to do jaywalking, where he would go up and ask people on the streets, like, "Hey, do you know where Saudi Arabia is?" And they'd like point way over here, and like just like little highlight would be really. I think that would be easily shared and whatnot. So
yeah, I was talking with my buddy Brock about that today, where we were just saying, yeah, let's like create like maybe like a 2 to 3 minute version and get that posted through Facebook as a Facebook video, and then that will link into the full version on YouTube, or again, yeah, kind of like there's enough there where you could just kind of chop it up into 2-minute parts, and just kind of deliver it that way. But yeah, no, I think even for the people watching that, it's interesting for the people from like our kind of mindset, for us to see this, there's a few different reactions. You're just like, oh, this is exciting, because there's actually, it's showing that like the collective consciousness is waking up here, what we sort of think of as like the mainstream and things like that. And yet things that we have been familiar with for, over a decade now, other people are starting to kind of like get hints at, they're starting to figure it out. So I think there was a lot of hope that was, very uplifting to be able to share through that. So yeah, we'll talk more a bit about it as yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I just want to say, like, I always do my yoga in public parks and stuff. Yesterday I was doing yoga in the park, and a whole bus of school children come by, and they're like stopped at the stop sign. They're like, "Hey, are you doing yoga?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they're all like, "Yeah, yoga man." And they're like, they go around the corner. They're like driving away, and they're like yelling like, "Yoga man."
That's awesome, getting them hyped.
They're probably like 4th grade,
That's
like
so
yoga
cool.
used to be like this crazy thing that nobody knew about.
There you go, right? Yeah, the kids are waking up. So yeah, no, that was good. That's funny. That kind of just, one of the guys, he referred to me as Crystal Man. That was funny too.
Closing statement or what?
What's that, Parker?
Parker's got closing statement here.
Closing statement, by all means, guys. Go ahead, and thank you again.
We're about to pack the laptop up and roll, but just wanted to say real quick, thank you, Brendon. Super, super grateful for you continuing this platform and reaching out to us, because this was inspiring for a lot of people. I'm looking at the comments on the YouTube video, and it feels like we engage a lot of people, and a lot more people are going to see this. So grateful for the outlet to spread the word. Sam, was super cool to hear about what you got going on, and I send you all my love with that. I feel like a part of me is doing that in another dimension of some sort, and it's like I feel very connected to your mission. And brother Joseph down here, look forward to hearing more about the mythological story with the wolf. I wanna know all the details next time. Hop on in. You're fucking amazing and hilarious. I already love you and only known you for a second. But yeah, just super grateful for this opportunity, and sending all my love, and we'll tune in again soon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Next synergy circle, we'd love to get a whole freestyle session going again.
We're gonna be doing another open mic, and you know, that might be something if Joseph's around for it. Maybe we can just schedule around his schedule, and he'll be the star of the show. We'll just kind of set it up like that. He's got some skills, man. We've all got some skills. So I'm looking forward to that. So again, Philo, any closing words, and I'll just mention where people can connect with you on Instagram and all that. So.
Yeah, so on Facebook, I'm Philo Lila. Feel free to hit me up. I also like to make YouTube videos, so you can check out. Got like over 500 videos over the last 9 years on there. Travels around the world and whatnot. I love jokes, so feel free to send me any jokes as long as they're PG-13 and puns that give you bonus points. And yeah, Team Pachamama is the movement that I helped co-create here, and we've got a Facebook page that posts a lot of inspiring videos and music and whatnot. And just keep showing up, people watching this. Step your game up. We're all stepping our game up, and everything's flowing. So happy Thursday.
Awesome. Happy Thursday, brother. Thank you once again. And yeah, for Parker, you can check him out at parkerweb with 2bs.bandcamp.com, as well as Fungi Flows on Instagram. And again, we'll put all this in the show notes afterwards. And Team Pachamama on Instagram for Philo's channel as well. So awesome. Thank you. Underscore. Yeah. So if you... There's the underscore in the URL, but if you search Team Pachamama, I think it shows up. But yeah, you can check out my story. Swipe up on my story on Mystic Spider-Man if you're tuned into this recently, and you can find it there too. So awesome. Thank you again, Philo. Thank you again, Philo and Parker, for joining in and for giving us the updates on Resonance Festival and planting the seeds. Yeah. So beautiful. All right, we'll catch up with you guys.
The 3-minute after movie of Resonance is in the comments.
We're gonna I'm gonna get that published into next week's newsletter as well. It's on like the production schedule, so yeah, we'll definitely get that featured, and definitely expect to see more from Parker and Philo. So awesome, sweet. All right, you guys rest well, and thank you again for everything you do, and we'll talk soon. So all right, stay lucid. Much love. All right, sweet. All right, so thank you again, everyone, for being here, for joining in. So what we're going to do, we're not going to keep this broadcast going super long. I did want to be able to, again, just like give, we didn't give Sam a chance to kind of like share any particular updates that he wanted to be able to share as well. I did also want to take a little bit of time, just kind of like talk about the video, because I know I'm not sure how long Joseph is here. Sam, are you cool if we just kind of talk about like the drunk students video just for a little bit first, and then we can jump in with anything as we go? Awesome, sweet. So okay, perfect, thanks, Sam. And Joseph, just checking real quick, what's your schedule like, dude? Like another like 20 minutes, or are you jumping off less than that? What do you think? I mean, you're just like you're in the office right now, aren't you? You're less than that. You gotta go in a bit. All right, okay, cool. All right, well, we'll just kind of well Joseph, I mean, before, yeah, okay, I'll just kind of talk real quick, because I know Joseph was actually like a big fan of the video, and then anything beyond the video that Joseph just wants to mention real quick, we'll do that within the next couple minutes, and then Sam and I will just chit chat for a little bit, and then we'll pretty much wrap up the show after that, keeping it fairly concise tonight. But yeah, so quick context for those of you who didn't see this yet on my YouTube channel, go check it out. It's called Interviewing interviewing drunk students about aliens, dreams, and dimensions. And so this was a very tactical video that I created. And there was like this huge street party that happens as part of the university near my house. And this is the university that I graduated from. And it's not like an official party. So like there's this whole like kind of there's a lot of mixed emotions about it, because it's basically just like thousands of students populate the street and just kind of get drunk throughout the day. And it's called Western FOCO, which stands for Fake Homecoming. So nonetheless, this event was happening, and there's actually been like another YouTuber, Jack Denmo, and he's like filmed some videos there, and they went super viral. And again, it's just this shenanigans. It's just absolute, like, you know, absolute shift show, so to speak. And so I had this like intuitive feeling where I'm like, there's an opportunity there. There's a window of opportunity there. I'd love to be able to like go down there, do free hugs, and like interview people and ask these questions and create some sort of awesome video montage out of this. And so again, and that's what I did, and it turned out to be like really successful. The video's got like over 50 likes and no dislikes so far. And yeah, people are really loving it. And again, people who are the part of the tactics is just to be able to, you know, provide entertainment and inspiration for people in our community who are watching. But at the same time, I'm strategically creating it so that it's going to be able to like spread itself through the university demographic as well. So students who might be in the video or who might just be entertained by it, they're going to check it out. But in the process of checking it out, there's this story that's kind of weaved through it, where essentially by asking people about aliens and things like that, eventually by the end of the video, it's kind of creating this like picture of reality, where it's basically kind of like giving people the invitation to be able to see themselves as a multidimensional being, and to be able to open up to the idea that, you know, maybe aliens are real, and maybe there's more to this reality than meets the eye, and dreams are something that we should be paying attention to. So again, that idea that, you know, by making this video, that was my intention, to literally be able to help accelerate the shift in consciousness through the individual conversations, as well as with the people who are going to continue to watch this in the future, who, again, there are going to be some ideas where people are going to watch this video and they're going to be like, I had never thought about that before. Like, that is a brand new concept. I never knew Sasquatch was psychic. You know, just as an example, so to speak. Who doesn't know? No, now everyone knows, so to speak. Maybe not. We'll see. But anyways, Joseph, knowing that you have to head out soon, yeah, you got pretty excited about that. And Joseph, he's been kind of working with me behind the scenes on a lot of inspiration. He does some amazing bodywork stuff, which we can talk about perhaps maybe more in depth on another broadcast. But part of like the even just kind of getting into that mindset of like, okay, how can we create like satirical humor to be able to help create, you know, entertaining media and stuff like that. We've had discussions like that. And even the Saturn Goes Direct, that was something that kind of ran past him first. And then he was like, oh yeah, okay. And then it kind of happened and stuff. But Joseph, from just kind of getting, you know, when you saw that video, what did it mean to you? And, you know, like why was that video something that you enjoyed? And you know, any other thoughts or feedback on that? What do you think it's going to accomplish maybe? So Joseph, go right ahead, dude.
Yo, my battery's close to dying, so I'm gonna talk as fast as I can.
Super fast. Yeah.
That was like 10,000 words. The video was great. We've had like a half dozen conversations of like something in the realm of like, in quotes, woke humor. And just because I've been so busy, like I haven't been able to like dedicate more time towards it, but it's really nice to know that like someone does have the capacity to do those things. And so it's been a pleasure and like an honor to be a part in some capacity to like that. I think that like when it comes into comedy, it's one of the ways that we can best bring ideas and plant seeds of ideas into people. Previous to me coming onto this call, I was just listening to a quick CBC political interview with Rick Mercer. And Rick Mercer is someone who has been like actively engaged within like Canadian culture for like 25 years or 26 years. And he did like over 250 of his like rant videos that were commentary on culture like in that week. And it's pivotal. His influence is like, he's a household name within our country. And I think that comedy has a capacity to disseminate a lot of like conscious awareness. And so it's nice to see Brendon starting to come into that more, because I just feel like it's just a really effective way to just increase awareness, and it's something that I've been actively thinking about for around a year now. But because I have so many other projects that require so much of my time, I haven't been able to kind of explore those things more. Um, the comment on just like, there was 20 minutes of content, so the video was a lot. And it took me a while to like, I think it took me a couple hours of just like finding a few free minutes here and there to go through it all. Um, but that's fine. I think like the nice thing about modern media is like Joe Rogan can release a podcast, and within like an hour, there's like small segments all kind of portioned out. So like I think it's okay to release long form content and then to find like the smaller pieces of it. Um, yeah, the video was great, and I just feel like going back to like what and the other guy said
Parker.
about like doing yoga in a public park, and then kids are like, yoga's the best. Like we as whatever conscious beings, um there's different ways in which we're in the forefront of things. um and I think that as we kind of continue to be our best selves, other and more people will respond to it. um and just like and that just kind of grows. Like I was doing yoga 10 years ago, and I was like really one of the only guys that I would see at the studio with like regularity. And then fast forward like 5 years when I'm teaching yoga and not just practicing, and like in me teaching for 2 years full time, I saw more and more people, like more and more men all of a sudden start practicing yoga. So I think it's important to like follow our kind of like intuitive tingles, um because it's like drawing us further down the path. And I think like as people um are following like a spiritual or a creative path, um it's 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 important to just continue that. And I feel like as people follow either a spiritual path or creative path, eventually what happens is there's just like more and more and more and more creation that actively is happening. Yeah. Anything
Yeah.
else? Yeah, like any
Yeah.
comments or
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, just real quick again, kind of talking about the idea of the power of humor to be able to convey ideas. I think for a lot of us, like some of the most influential teachers that I had growing up within my spiritual path were people, like Alan Watts and Terrence McKenna, and I even want to include like Jim Carrey in there as well. And look at the way like Jim Carrey, like he's been a big inspiration for me too. And there were like some times where I just kind of channel, like even like in that video, like with Saturn going direct, like that's acting in there and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, let's kind of like bring this performance. So it's like, what would Jim Carrey do? And it's like very much like this kind of like showy exaggeration, but at the same time, when you allow people to smile and you allow people to laugh, they also allow themselves to be more receptive to receiving what you're telling them, and that's why, like, I think juxtaposed to, with protests and things like that, and like say like hardcore vegan activism where you're trying to shame people into changing their ways. The moment you do that, sometimes people get their defenses up and then they kind of like don't really listen to what you're saying. But with humor, it's this very neutralizing medium. And I think, again, it's kind of one of those things that I really like it, because you might kind of like bring someone in and they're laughing. And then by the end of the video, they're just like, wait, what? Did I just get educated? Like, son of a bitch. Like he just informed me about something, or he just inspired me without me even like realizing that's what was actually happening. So I'm really, really excited to be able to continue pursuing that avenue and to be able to continue to brainstorm, along with other people. So Joseph, knowing that you have to leave and knowing that we're going to get close to wrapping up the broadcast, any other words of wisdom, for the people who are waking up, who are totally woke out there?
believe in stationary earth and get consent from people if you're going to
Get that off my broadcast. You get that off. Not yet, Joe. It's too early.
Sorry. Nah, I think just like keep breathing, like keep mindfully breathing, be in nature, just take care of yourself. I think I don't think I feel as though I know in like deep parts of myself that the more that we can take care of ourselves and do the things that we actually enjoy whenever we can, and like be in a positive, harmonious relationship with ourselves, um, like everything else just comes naturally. Like Patabi Joyce, who's, I don't know, like some kind of like important yogi, if you know about yoga, he just said like keep practicing, the rest will come. So I think just like keep practicing whatever fills your cup, um, and like a whole bunch more crazy shit is gonna happen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
Also, like
and
stationary Earth.
fix and your posture, and fix your posture, and
Yeah.
remember how to like stand and breathe. Joseph here, just again, because I know he has to head out. He's a huge educator on just like body dynamics,
Yep.
and you can just tell them a little bit, and I posted the links as well. But I've been quick testimonial. Joseph, I've been going to him for sessions quite regularly over the past several months, and these sessions are basically designed to unmess up your body, like unfuck your body. I hate to
Yep.
be coarse with the language, but that's a very blunt way of being able to put it. Where so many of us, we've been at computers and cell phones, and we're all just like crouched into these balls. And then with his massage, as well as his intuitive energy work and just again holding space, he allows the body to relax, and he allows the body to kind of like move into new adjustments and alignments. And
Yeah.
and it's a really, really powerful way to again even just kind of like open up the energy channels. So Joseph, just tell us a little bit about any quick thoughts for people watching this, reminding them about the importance of body mechanics.
Yeah. The more that you can breathe and like be in water or sauna or a steam room or ice water, the better. I think like human beings are supposed to be in water much more of the time. Like uh and if you can see like a structural integrator or a cranial sacral therapist, those people can be like some of the most um like woke and helpful people. Um like I grew up with like a lot of chronic pain and just a lot of issues, and those things really helped me the most. And I've come to realize like the more that people are in different levels of physiological discomfort, they don't have the same amount of energy that they would um, if they weren't in pain or discomfort. And so the more that you can work on helping to heal your physical body, you'll then have more energy to like tackle working on emotions and energetic things and psychological things, and then you'll have more energy to like to just create more. It's very like ground up of like, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If your body feels good, then you can then take that good feeling to other things. And like because Brendon does take good care of himself and has for some time, he doesn't have the kind of baseline level of stress and shittiness that most people do. So it's been like relatively easy to work with him just because he's not so fucked up. Compared to the average person who I see who is in like kind of like chronic pain all the time. And there's like different levels of the people acclimatizing to that. So some people might say like, oh yeah, like my shoulder really hurts, but like everything else is fine. And then after like one or two sessions of that being cleared up, then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I didn't realize that this is still a problem in this. And I think there's a lot to kind of work on. And I think that's why there's like an importance and a beauty to like movement practices and flow practices, meditation, because it's just unraveling the different layers of self, and like healing the different layers of self allows for more energy to be placed towards um, God's good work, um, which to me is just like art, consciousness, awareness, and like those kinds of good things. And if God's triggering, you can just think Odin, or nature, or the universe, or Jim Carrey, because all those things are awesome. And yeah, take care of yourself. That's like
Yeah,
my last words,
awesome, man.
if
And
anything.
you just launched your new website, didn't you?
Yeah, my website went up yesterday. Um, if you're in the London area, come hang. If you want to drink some tea and talk about how messed up your body might be, I'm always down. I'm at like 201 King Street, Innovation Works in London, Ontario. And like over the next few months, once I'm more settled here, I'll be traveling a little bit more, seeing clients in different cities and running workshops out of those places and doing concerts. But yeah, check out my website. I have a bunch of videos made in part due to the efforts and the courage of this man, Brendon. And there's going to be a
Yeah, we
lot
got
more
some videos
content
there.
coming out over the next year, and it's all going to be like becoming more integrated and more enjoyable, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. And the website is?
Full FULL body BODY efficiency EFFICIENCY treatment TREATMENT.com. Full body efficiency treatment. It's long and convoluted, not unlike my name, Joseph William McKay Barker III. Yeah, I used to
Awesome.
have a stutter, and then I did mushrooms, and now look at me.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Awesome.
Cool.
Okay,
Well,
much love.
again, awesome, Joseph. Thank you so much. We didn't get to talking about the climate strike, and I know you were there. But we can
With a didgeridoo, yeah.
With a didgeridoo. Any in like 2 sentences or less? Any thoughts on the climate strike march in London? It was huge. It was huge in London.
The didgeridoos and the
Didgeridon'ts
of a climate strike. I think like lead with peace,
lead with love, yeah.
and lead with love is really important. That's like the first time I've really been involved in like a large scale kind of thing. I don't usually spend time in those places because I can tell that there's too much angst and too much anger, and I don't think that angst and anger help to create anything. They usually help to destroy things, which isn't generative. So yeah, do that. Lead with love. And yeah, I'm excited to be able to pop on again at some point in time.
For sure, man. For sure.
I'm out, but much love to y'all, and thank
Sweet,
you, Brendon,
dude.
for holding space for everybody and for being so dope. I'm so excited to see more videos by you.
Yeah, dude. Thanks,
and I'm
man.
excited to touch your body
Likewise.
some more.
Oh man, only you.
Yeah.
And maybe are you going to the Archer and Cow event this weekend? No.
No, it's my 32nd birthday on Saturday, and I will be going up
early
to
birthday wishes.
Thank you. I'll be going up to my cottage, away from internet and cell phone service for a few days to just kind of like chill, swim in cold water.
Yeah.
Enjoy hot showers and loons.
Dope. Yeah. Awesome. Well, dude, thank you again. And quick little known fact: Joseph is actually like a winning Paralympic swimmer,
6-time Canadian record holder.
Yeah. And he's like hung out with Wim Hof a couple times and stuff like that. So we'll have to come back on and talk a little bit more about just more body dynamics and what it was like meeting Wim Hof and anything of that nature. So dude,
Wim Hof is a fucking angel, but I would love to talk more about him. I wish everybody a beautiful evening and a great sleep. I am going to go to sleep as soon as I leave my office and find a bed.
Perfect. Good idea. All right, Joseph. Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh yeah.
All right, peace out. Sweet. All right, so again, that was Joseph. Be sure to check out his stuff in the YouTube info. We'll put that into the show notes. And again, full body efficiency treatment. And yeah, some of the videos that he has online are videos that him and I actually filmed of like him teaching and stuff like that. So there's some cool tips that you can check out just about being able to help become more aware of posture and little stretches and just understanding a little bit more about the importance of just being aware of how your body works. So cool. So with that said, again, it's I'm gonna eventually just kind of segue this into the end of the episode, but we've definitely accomplished a lot. Of course, I do want to be able to just pass the microphone back over to Sam. And Sam, I appreciate your patience, dude. That wasn't fully the intention, but just with the way things were going, people were kind of coming and going, and we haven't really given you a chance to kind of talk a little bit more about anything else that you feel you would like to be able to bring to the circle. And yeah, again, we've already kind of talked about like the video I made. We didn't get fully into the climate strike march, but I can just give a little bit on that. But before we do that, and then shortly after, we'll get close to wrapping it up. Sam, is there anything else that you would like to bring to the table, even in relation to what we were talking about with like creating community events, and any wisdom from that? Because you've obviously had a lot of experience doing potlucks and gotten a lot of feedback from those. Yeah, anything that you'd like to share with the people listening, go right ahead.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you. It's cool,
It's cool.
I just love the dynamic. I love the people that come to this broadcast. That's why I just decided that I'm gonna try to be on as much as I can from now on, because like I always meet awesome people. I've had 3 interns come to Camp Haven from listening to these broadcasts. So it's like, that's a
That's
real,
right. That's right. That's really cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a real thing. And like it's just I think really going to like a big part of our education now is like trying to meet people where they're already at. Like we could set up our own website and try to get our information on our website, but like driving traffic to your website then becomes your full-time job. So like why not just use websites that are already being used a lot by a lot of people that are doing this stuff? So yeah, I think the community here is just really great. So I'm really happy to listen to everybody and hear what's going on with everybody and how everybody's contributing. But as far as events go, potlucks are definitely like I recommend. They're the easiest type of event for any like beginner event thrower to do. Just the whole idea of bringing people together around food and no obligations and no commitments is like really powerful. Excuse me. A lot of people think that like I know for me growing up, I didn't have a lot of money and it was very difficult to like I wanted to participate in all these events and I wanted to participate in all these things that my friends were doing, and they all cost, they all had a cost attached to them, and I just really wanted to, when I grew up, to create the same type of environment for those people without the cost attached. And I think that like that's a big thing, that if you're planning on really offering like Joseph was saying, like a really cool event with like, you're going to be doing more for your community than just providing the space and holding space for everybody. Charging a little bit to help compensate for the event that's going on makes sense. But like to host a free potluck, like the biggest issue for us right now is that when we host a potluck, we have like 30, 40, 50 people coming. And when we do, now that you're there, we need like a venue to actually be able to comfortably host all these people. And unfortunately around here, it's a lot of the venues are just outdoors. So like when wintertime and it's snowing, we're trying to figure something out, and our place at Camp Haven, um, we need a good amount of funding and a good amount of capital investment, a good amount of volunteers to come, interns to come to work with us and to add their own flair to the place, to get it really to the point where that place can be a venue as well to support conscious events and transformational festivals and things like that. We're about to acquire another piece of property attached to Camp Haven that we're specifically trying to make more of a venue space. It's a sort of a natural amphitheater that's built into the mountain, so we're trying to just kind of cultivate that and just really continue what we're doing. But yeah, it's really just about you got to start somewhere, and like everybody loves food, so potlucks are just like the obvious thing to kind of, you don't have to have a specific topic. It's really just an all-inclusive event. Everybody has to eat, so like it is an all-inclusive event. You don't have to make it vegan, you don't have to make it plant-based. We do encourage everyone to bring plant-based dishes. We encourage everyone to support their local farmers when they're bringing food dishes in. We bring paper plates in case anyone needs them, but we really encourage everyone to bring their own dishware. That's another thing that kind of we bring the fact that whoever's hosting the potluck, because we do have it at different community members' houses, and that's another idea, that every community member that wants that enjoys the potluck can then also become a host of the potluck, and you can kind of carry the email list and be telling people about the event, but the event can happen at all different places. Once a month around our community, we try to have a potluck. It's always at a different person's house or a different farm, and the host always wants to kind of demonstrate or show what they're doing in their home and how they live, and then again, just sharing that space without commitment, without obligation. So I think like encouraging people to do certain things is better than setting rules and saying like unless you um, like maybe doing sliding scales for certain things too. Always giving people an option if you can't really afford it to still be able to participate in some way. And a big thing too is just getting people to volunteer and help. I think that like the younger generation now, and even my generation is we're like looking for something to give our energy to in a positive way. Everyone's just that they understand that we can really make a difference if our particular energy, maybe not make a difference globally, but just make a difference in our lives if we start putting our energy towards things that we believe in and towards things that like lift us up and build us up. And so I think it's like 70% of people my age are actively volunteering right now, which is like a huge number compared to years past. So it's pointing to good things. And there's a reason why we became a nonprofit. We didn't want like money to be involved in what we were trying to provide. We're really education based. And like I said, when I grew up, there was just so many limitations, so many financial limitations to me being able to just do what I thought was just having fun. And like even just like I got like arrested 4 times for skateboarding, because they called skateboarding vandalism. It's just like all this stuff that blocked me from just being able to be a kid growing up. And I was living in a city at the time, and now moving up to an environment up where they're I don't know if it's this environment or if it's just that the times are changing, but yeah, there's you know uh sound healers on every, like all around me. There's 5 6 different kinds of yogis doing different kinds of yoga practices. There's just so many different types of holistic healing modalities out there, different energy work that's being done. And it's definitely becoming more and more popular, and people are still just as interested in health and well-being as they always have been. And now it's just becoming more of a holistic approach where like environmentalists are getting into health and well-being, and people that are into health and well-being are getting into environmentalism. And we're all kind of starting to realize that we're all working on the same page here, and we all there's a holistic approach that does fit in every category. And I think it's really cool to set up and develop, and to like watch that blossom. But yeah, potlucks are definitely an easy way to do it. Every time we've tried to have an event that had some sort of theme to it, we don't get as many people. But the people that come really want to, they usually don't come to the potlucks. They're coming for whatever the theme. We had a pottery workshop to teach people how to make, how to make clay out of soil in their backyard, and then use that clay to make pots and things like that, and to really connect with the earth in that way. And the people that came were really into it and really wanted to have that experience. So it's like, um, you know, having themed events in your niche is always good, and then having like the overall general all-inclusive event that just like the whole community can come and be a part of, really helps as well. And again, the point is to just drive those open-minded discussions, and the not to tell anyone they're how to live their lives, but to just literally ask questions, question our paradigms, and see if there's other alternative ways of doing things. And just having these conversations is the shift that we need to happen. So it's the more we can encourage that, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Sam. Very well said. And yeah, absolutely, 100% agreeing with that. And again, I think, just going back to the simplicity of potlucks and being able to bring people together around food is actually such a powerful thing. And even within our paradigm shift meetings, when we were doing them at certain locations, yeah, we would like meet up in a yoga studio. And then after that, we would go out to eat somewhere, and just kind of like practice kind of, communicating in a variety of formats. Where when we're at the yoga studio, it's a little bit more formal, it's a little bit more facilitated. And then when we kind of go for food, you're just kind of sitting there and you're chit-chatting, you're bumping elbows with people. But it's a very powerful way to just be able to give people something that nurtures their soul, that nurtures their spirit. And I think that's important for us to really be able to see it from that perspective in terms of why we are creating these events. We're creating this to be able to provide people with value that is literally nurturing their soul, something that, you know, they're not getting they might not be getting too much of, based on, you know, where they may be in certain cultures and society. And again, even as we do this, this is about us changing culture, you know, kind of what we were talking about with going back to the climate crisis and consciousness. I was saying, like, that is a big part of how we help change the world, is by changing the culture. So when we create these potlucks and we create these routines, we create these modern day ceremonies, it just becomes something that eventually is normalized, and then people begin to co-create it, and they begin to, again, you know, like, I think those events, when there's a particular facilitator and they're organizing it, those are great. But then sometimes you get those events where there's almost like no leader. It's just a consecutive agreement where people are just like, yeah, we're just going to meet here every Friday and have food, sort of thing. And then I think, again, you know, for the people listening to this, if you're looking to organize events, start looking at locations, start looking at yoga studios, start looking at community libraries, start looking at parks. Maybe you can host it out of, you know, someone's house if it's appropriate to do so. And then just start kind of like brainstorming about, you know, what you can do, and also kind of tap into the idea of like, what would it feel like? What would it feel like for you to be able to organize these events? And then, of course, you know, please feel free to reach out to myself or anybody else within the team if you feel you might have some particular questions about facilitating events. Again, a lot of us have a fair amount of experience with being facilitators for our communities for the past, again, like several years. So really just encouraging, reminding people that they can do this where they are too. So Sam, thank you again, man. And yeah, I'm excited to just continue to, again, you know, hear about that. And I really like with what you guys do, where again, you're focusing it not just on the value of the experience and meeting like-minded people and having important discussions, but also being able to provide the community with education, you know, skills, tools, you know, like learning things that they can bring back to their own household and garden, and giving them those hands-on you know, familiarity with just how to be able to make things for themselves and how to be able to grow their own gardens and things like that. That's incredibly valuable there as well. So yeah, no, Sam, thank you again, man. And we'll kind of, again, I kind of want to be able to just get close to wrapping this up in the next little bit. I did just want to briefly mention the climate strike rally and how that went in London, because it was like freaking huge and phenomenal. The one that happened on the 27th, which was the day after our last broadcast, and then just give a quick overview in terms of some updates for Paradigm Shift and what to be able to expect. But before we do that, Sam, was there any other things that you wanted to mention off the bat? Any you know, any projects you're working on or things you want to let us know about?
Well, just another suggestion about events, to just go to events, because like that's something I don't do enough of. I get all my input from people that because I run the center now, so people come to me. So I hear about these different events, and we're trying to incorporate a lot of them into what we're doing. But like things like ecstatic dance and just like there's so many different events happening, and if you go to them, you get a lot of ideas on what you can do in your community. That, you know, maybe free events or maybe low cost events and things like that. But yeah, I mean, the right now we're in Livingston Manor, New York, so it's a really small town in upstate New York. It's just 2 hours north of Manhattan, and we kind of are strategically located to deal with people from the city, giving people that have grown up in the city sort of a way of transitioning into a more natural lifestyle, and at the same time working with the local community and realizing that we're in a food desert and that there's serious lack of food, lack of quality food in our area, and again realizing that there's a lack of education around what healthy decision making really is. A lot of people are, you know, in a state of extreme stress and extreme anxiety, and like they push themselves like to go exercise, you know, in that state, and that's, you know, the exercise is healthy when we're in a healthy state and we're able to exercise. If we're not, it becomes detrimental. And like a lot of these little keys to a holistic perspective on health and well-being are kind of lost along the thousands of memes that are made every day about telling people what to eat and how to exercise and what the latest diet trend is and things like that. And I've been a holistic nutritionist for 7 years now, 8 years now, and I've been in the holistic health field for over 20 years with my whole family, and we're all still together and learning more about this stuff every day. So, uh, like, it's actually become less about giving people information now and more about like inspiring their intuition that kind of knows the truth already and what they're supposed to be eating and doing and how they're supposed to be living, and just like giving them the courage to actually uh, pursue what their intuition is telling them that they're trying to pursue. So Fairhaven is opening up. Fairhaven is open right now as an organic grocery marketplace that sells fruits and vegetables from local farms, and we also get imported stuff as well. We just get as much organic fruits and vegetables as we can, and we sell everything at cost, trying to increase access to those products as much as possible. And the juice bar and smoothie bar will be opening up soon. Again, in an educational aspect, we're not a regular juice and smoothie bar. We're an education center that just happens to use those things as our tools to really teach people how to utilize fruits and vegetables in healthy ways, how to make these foods for themselves at home, what machines to use, why certain types of equipment are better than others, certain types of ingredients are better than others, and things like that. Just ways of making nutrition really simple and practical, and making healthy decision making something that is fun. There's community built around, where you go out to an event and everyone's not drunk and just going from stimulation to stimulation, but are doing things that are more naturally stimulating and more harmonious with health and well-being, and are actually benefiting us long term and not just the instant gratification part of it. Is really what we're focused on now. And like I said, I'm working on the marketing and advertising aspect, trying to get our word out there more, get our communications down on paper so that we can have a consistent message throughout all our communications. So entrepreneur life. And
that's cool, man.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we were kind of just chit chatting about this in the team chat. You're working on getting a podcast up and running, and I guess like that will also be with people local to the community to get involved with. Is that part of the idea?
Yeah. So there's like whenever we have new interns in and things like that, or just like me and my brother and my our community up at Camp Haven, there's 5 of us living up there all the time, and interns come in and out. So sometimes we're up to like 15 people at one time, but basically, we have very based on topics that we're learning about and reading about, based on personal development topics and things like that. There's a big dynamic between the different types of people that live with us. Very competitive mindsets that are trying to break themselves out of that. Very sort of creative and passive mindsets that are trying to sort of understand the competitive aspect and how that can be beneficial in our lives. So we have very interesting, open-minded conversations very often, and realize that when our interns come and spend time with us, that's one of the things that they tell us is the most fun about being with us, is that they don't have these conversations anywhere else, that people aren't really able to have conversations like that and keep them fun and inspiring. So yeah, we decided that we're going to bring our interns into the podcast and basically let them ask questions and talk to us and tell us about their experiences, and we give our perspectives, and at the same time interviewing people in the local community, whether they're farmers or healers, or they're looking to become politicians or something like that, to really make change in the community, really just like community leaders that are trying to do something different and aren't afraid of living their lives in a different way, to tell us their stories, and for us to be able to sort of gain a little bit of insight into different types of lifestyles, and again, different options that we might be able to take home with us, different skills, motivations, events that we can host ourselves. Just realize, like the more I watched people, vegan videos and people posting videos about eating well, the easier it is to do that. And like the more you start paying attention to communities that are uplifting, the easier it is to do that. So it's just like, once we have now been uplifted by these communities, we can kind of go out and start our own. And that's kind of the last aspect of the process that we're trying to bring people through, is to sort of empower them up to the point where you can start your own community, you can start your own that's why I feel like this is so in line with what we're trying to do, because it's like a lot of people are doing this now, that once you get to a place where you feel confident, you want to start that community so that you can bring other people to that place where they can feel confident and they can all start their own communities. And a lot of people just want to know what they can do to make a difference. And honestly, just support is all we need. I always say that people don't need more information. They're not lacking information, they're lacking support. So if we can just provide support and provide community, they know what to do, and the information becomes apparent, and things just start falling into place, and everyone can then spiral that off into their own communities, and it just uplift the whole world.
Absolutely, dude. Well, dude, that's awesome, man. And I love the idea that with you doing your podcast, it's gonna be a way for, it's gonna kind of work as like a gathering for your local community as well. Like it will be something where even just like word of mouth and be like, oh yeah, like I saw you on the podcast last week type thing. So I think that's really cool that you're able to focus both on the online aspect of your community while continuing to build the local networks. And really, you guys have put a lot of work into creating the roots over these many years, and I think the foundation is there. So I'm excited for you to be able to start producing those, and I'm happy to be able to help support in doing that. And again, that's content that we can get published to the Paradigm Shift Central website once it's ready to do that. And yeah, man, it's very, very exciting. So kudos to you for feeling the call to do that. And again, just creating more of those important discussions is absolutely what more of us can do every single day. So awesome. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, man.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So like I said, I'd love to just be able to chat here for hours and hours on end, but we're going to get close to wrapping up this broadcast in the next little bit. So just some quick updates. I did mention the global climate strike. I did just want to not even talk about this too much, because we did spend an entire podcast on it last time. But basically, I just wanted to be able to share a bit about my experience, and I live streamed it. It was a full 2-hour live stream that I did, and I'm still editing so on the week before there was another global climate strike, which was still really big, and I filmed that in more kind of my gonzo journalism style, which is going to be edited into a much more refined video. And I did the student one first with the intention that people are going to see the student one, that's going to get popular, they're going to subscribe, and then they'll see the climate change one now that they're already synced up for it. And this one, the one that happened last week, the previous one was more so directed just at the students. That's the way it was kind of promoted. And then the next one was more of the intergenerational march, and there was so many people. It was literally the biggest rally, the biggest march that has ever happened in London, Ontario. And this we literally walked around the entire city over the course of 2 hours, and there was just yeah, I think I said about over 3,000 people, which for London is a lot. And again, knowing that on the same day, many of you would have seen, but there is again, just people, thousands and thousands of people in cities all over the world. So that was a very, very inspiring thing to be able to see. And obviously there's more conversations related to that, but evidently at the end of the day, again, I think it shows hope in the sense that there are people who care. And then again, as we talked about in the last broadcast, I think it comes back to us just being able to change our culture, to change from within, to be able to know ourselves, and to keep showing up in the little ways where like what Sam was saying and what we were talking about, just being able to help build community, start at the grassroots, and just keep focusing locally while thinking globally in that sense. And it was beautiful to see a lot of hope there, and I'm looking forward to being able to edit together the video that will again tell the story of the global climate strike and just kind of how it relates to the bigger shift in consciousness. So in terms of other stuff that we have going on within the Paradigm Shift Central project, what we're going to be doing within the next coming weeks, this has always been a core aspect of the project, is again, we really want to be able to help focus on growing the platform to be able to help serve the community members and helping use the platform as a way for their content to reach more people. And so one of the things that we'll be shifting a little bit more into is also the growth of our individual Paradigm Shift Central team Instagram page. And so keep an eye open for that. You can look up Paradigm Shift Central on Instagram to be able to find it there. And yeah, through there, again, the idea is really we're just going to be like we're going to be like collaborating with a bunch of other pages, some bigger pages, some that you've already known, like quick shouts like Spiritual Teachers of Our Time, Planetary Ascension, 1111. There's a bunch of creators. And so again, you know, like part of my passion in creating this project is knowing that there's so many creators out there, and some of them, they might have like a very small network. And so what I want to be able to do is for us as a team to grow this like shared network, and then essentially anything that we put through it will immediately be able to have access to the global collective audience. And we've already been moving forward with this. We've been getting into the routine of doing our weekly newsletters. Those have been going well. For those of you who aren't subscribed to that, go ahead and check that out. And that's just kind of like a tailored version of sharing what's new in terms of content that's been uploaded by community members, featured community content, as well as information and reminders for upcoming broadcasts. And again, part of what I'll continue to be working on is growing that email list. So again, over time, that email list will be like thousands and thousands big. And then every week as we release that content, again, you know, we're providing the service of helping people's, you know, content reach a wider audience so that they can get connected with what they're making and support them as, you know, creators and leaders and entrepreneurs as well. So yeah, with that said, I just want to be able to thank everyone again for being a part of this community and for being a part of this broadcast. If you haven't already yet, you can go ahead and explore ParadigmShiftCentral.com. You can subscribe to the newsletter. You can connect to our team chat. You can explore the media nexus, and be sure to connect with me on Instagram at Mystic Spider-Man. You can call to action, go ahead and check out the recent video that we did again with the interviewing drunk students. I was checking it. It's almost at 700 views on YouTube. And what's good about that is that when people keep liking that video, the way how it's tagged is that there's like that other super popular video that's got like over 100,000 views, and that our video is actually going to start showing up as a recommended video for people who watch that video. I've already like checked in with some people. I'm like, how did you find this video? And they're like, oh, it was recommended from the other video. So that's actually, again, where the likes come into play when we're using YouTube. So if you haven't yet, please feel free to check that out. And then I'll be re-uploading that again in kind of like clips, but again, really focusing on being able to help use that as a tool to be able to go viral, but also being able to help plant seeds and invite people back to the community. And again, back to the story that we are co-creating together, this story of us coming together at the round table, of us rising together as leaders, of us continuing to work on ourselves within this co-creative game. So with that said, we'll just pass the talking stick back to Sam and any closing thoughts, and then we'll officially wrap up the broadcast here, and yeah, we'll call it a night after that. So Sam, any closing thoughts of inspiration for all the other shifters tuned in? Go right ahead.
Yeah, I guess just stay curious. You know, that's always my wrap up. You know, because that's curiosity is everything. You know, and that's where everything begins. That's where everything ends. You know, keep questioning, stay positive. You know, it's really about reaching out to community, building community, finding community, and you know, providing that support if you can, and requesting that support if you need it. Radical self-care. You know, give your body what it's asking for whenever it needs it. That's, yeah. So much love to everybody. Thank you for having me again, Brendon. Thank you for doing this. Really happy to see this community grow. I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Awesome. Thank you as well, man. And yeah, really excited to just be able to see how your stories and yeah, it's been a journey for both of us just to be able to kind of like, you know, helix in and out. And so yeah, congratulations on all the things that you've been building, and again, just knowing that it's already you know, it's already succeeded. It's already accomplished so much just in the changes that it's made within the individual lives and the example that it's created within your community. So thank you again as well, Sam. And yeah, for those of you looking to connect with Sam, Haven for Humanity on Facebook and on Instagram as well. And Sam, if people might be in the area, would it be cool for them to reach out to you? Is that possible?
Yeah. So yeah, if you go to our website, you can contact us. through email, contact at havenforhumanity.org. Havenforhumanity.org is our website. Basically, I give tours of our self-sustainable facility, and that's by appointment. So if you'd like to take a tour and check out our place, it's a free tour. Everything we do is by donation, so those who can, and it's really a fun and educational experience. We walk you through our different types of architecture that we built, and really explain how we live off the grid there, why we live the way we do, and it can take anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours, depending on the questions that people ask and how involved it gets. But yeah, I definitely encourage people to come check us out. If you're into permaculture, if you're a carpenter or a builder and you're looking to volunteer, we definitely need help. We need volunteers. We're trying to build a tiny home village of different types of tiny homes that we can sort of rent out as educational experiences for people to get a glimpse of what it's like to live a minimalist lifestyle. And yeah, just to finish building the complex that we have up there that will allow us to have a venue and have more larger community events. And so, yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for interns. We need help with hospitality. We need help with web design, graphic design, the works. We're a nonprofit, grassroots. There's 5 of us here full time that are dedicating our time to this nonprofit. Full time for me, it's like a 24-hour job. I eat, sleep, and breathe this. So it never ends, but it's just my passion, what I do for fun. It's what I do that I love doing, and hoping that this is something that really resonates with a lot of people right now. And I kind of feel that part of what we're doing is a lot of what other people have been telling me that they've been wishing they could do for a long time, and I'm really happy to be able to co-create with all those people that I'm sharing that vibration with, and that we can in no way is anything complete in our project. It's about incorporating other people's vision, other people's creativity into what we're doing. So it's an ever evolving, ever changing thing, and we want to incorporate what other people are doing into that. So encourage you to reach out. Definitely encourage people to get in touch. If you're just in the area in Livingston Manor, you want to grab some the most affordable fruits and vegetables you can find, the tastiest, the freshest, definitely come to the market, Fairhaven Pharmacy. Check us out on Instagram at Fairhaven Pharmacy. That's FAREHAVEN FARMACY. So we have a couple puns in that name also. But yeah, so that again, the juice bar and smoothie bar will be opening soon, and we're gonna have sandwiches and salads and wraps and raw food kitchen and things like that. Really, really state of the art. We're gonna be doing our own freeze-dried vegetables and herbs and things like that as well. So stay tuned, lots to come. And again, more social media outreach coming as well, and more videos and more collaboration with Paradigm Shift Central. So
awesome. Beautiful. And yeah, so with that said, we are pretty much ready to wrap it up. So again, for everybody who hasn't already yet, check out Haven for Humanity and be sure to follow them on Instagram. Even just feel free to send Sam a message. Just be like, hey, yo, I saw you on the show, and now I'm just like sending a message just to say hi. Like, one thing that I really and just invite everybody to do as a call to action is express your gratitude. Like, if you see someone on the broadcast, or even if you just want to be able to send a message to me, expressing your gratitude really means a lot. It really does mean a lot, because again, it's just a very powerful way to show that the message is getting out there, and that again, people are carrying this with them further. So that is a call to action for everybody here to continue to carry this inspiration further with you wherever you are in your day-to-day actions, in your community events, in the art that you're creating, in the inner work that you are doing. So again, going back to what we started off the show with, peace worldwide begins from inside. So with that said, we're going to wrap up this broadcast. Again, be sure to check out all the information in the show notes to connect with all the leading members here. Please feel free to check out the Patreon if you enjoy what we are creating here, and contribute a monthly micro donation to get some exclusive perks and even some awesome discounts for Light Guardian crystals and other cool stuff. Tune in for future broadcasts. We're going to be doing some more open mic kind of poetry jam type things coming up. We got some dream class coming up, and yeah, lots of other inspirational conscious media still coming your way. So with that said, thank you so much again on behalf of all the leading members here. Sam, join me in saying farewell, good night, much love, and yeah, thank you again everyone for being a part of this team. So good job, team. Share this broadcast with your friends, smash that like button, and we will see you in the future. So
good night, everybody.
Good night, Sam.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right.
Peace and
Awesome.
love.
Thanks again. Thank you again to Danny Leonardo, whose music is featured at the beginning and end of this broadcast. Please feel free to check out more of Danny's work in the information on the YouTube below. Thank you, Danny.